Hello and welcome to episode 142 of the MisanthroPod. I am Snipe, and as always, I am joined by Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
I'm also joined by Drumbly Bumbly. Say hello.
Hello.
I am also joined by the bodacious Rem Kilchan. How are you, darling?
It's been 84 years, but I'm finally back.
We missed you. Why didn't, we've been asking you every month, please, Rem, come back. We miss you. And you've been like, no, shan't.
Yes, I'm too busy challenging for the TNT title in AEW, clearly.
Yeah, exactly. And, we respect your dreams.
Indeed.
How are you, lovely gentlemen, doing this fine evening?
I am doing okay. Matthew, you doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. Yeah, Rems?
Yeah, not too bad.
Everything is acceptable.
Everything's great.
Oh, by the way, did Nimona turn up at your house yet with cinnamon buns?
Not yet. We're seeing her on Thursday.
Woo.
Yeah. I don't know, you're seeing her tomorrow, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Yeah. She messaged me and she was like, hello. Can we meet it? What do people call it? Meet
Warhammer
space?
World, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Warhammer World.
Yeah.
Let's meet up and meet. She did not say meet space. Don't. I'm not going to start spreading rumours about Narina. She's an absolute darling.
We can confirm here that Narina does not use the term meat space.
Yeah, so she's completely fine.
Not yet.
Green. Drama Matt, that was said with such intent. You're going to message her after the podcast and be like, hey, Narina, you don't know me, but I know you.
This is probably a very strange conversation. Anyone listen to this that doesn't know who Narina is.
She'll just turn around and say Perkele, but anyway. To all the Finns out there, hi.
Oh no, none of them are listening after Snipe's impression of a Finnish accent from a few episodes back.
Was this an instance
rough.
where she confused a Finnish accent for a Danish accent or something?
No.
I think it was mostly Swedish.
No, it's I'm from Finland. It is always cold.
Yeah, it was Swedish. Not good Swedish accent
Okay,
either.
the thing is, full disclosure, obviously it's a fucking joke. And I did get some people going, haha, Snipe, that's very funny, but you are wrong. We do not sound like that. And I'm like, I know, that's the joke.
Sorry to go off on a tangent already. I know it's only been about a minute. You just reminded me of this clip from this Scandinavian stand-up comic. I can't remember his name, but he was talking about the different Nordic stereotypes, and he was saying things like, he's from Iceland, he must be broke, he must be broke. He is from Norway, he must be rich, he must be rich. He is from Finland, he must be drunk, he must be drunk. He is from Sweden, he works in Norway, he works in Norway. He is from Denmark, I can't understand a fucking word he's saying. Kind of thing.
I know, on the topic Finnish stereotypes, and I was told this by a Finn, so this is citation needed, but
I just love we've now got the MisanthroPod racial stereotypes corner.
Yeah.
My least favourite corner.
But at least we front load it.
Yeah, okay, well maybe I shouldn't then. It's not a bad one. It's
fine. It's fine.
I was told this by a Finn. They said, how do you know? How can you tell a extrovert Finnish person?
They only stab you twice.
No, they look at at your shoes when they talk to you, not theirs. Oh. Hey! I don't know if it's true, but I was told it by a Finn, so I believe them more than me.
I believe them more than me.
Good rally car drivers as well, or just racing drivers in general. A lot of good racing drivers come from Finland. Yeah.
They just imagine they're getting away from Finland.
I don't think
Possibly.
There's also a lot of good bands as well.
Dependent on your
fast?
music genre of choice, I would expect.
Well, I'm sure pretty much everyone loves Stratovarius.
I mean, honestly, yeah. That's kind of yeah.
Is this what I sound like when I start talking about Cryptid Chipmunk?
Oh no, you sound worse.
Are you not talking about the hunting Bigfoot thing again, are you?
No,
he doesn't stop. He lives
Ancient
in
Aliens
cycles.
Bigfoot edition. Who built the pyramids? It was Bigfoot.
It was the finish.
It turns out it was
Finish
Chewbacca. Bigfoot was Chewbacca.
Oh no, Bigfoot's a part of whole ancient aliens thing. Don't worry.
Rem,
about
what have you
it.
done?
No, I won't get into it. No. Shall we get into what this podcast is supposed to ostensibly be about?
It's not supposed to be about anything.
Yeah,
Maybe it was once.
Oh, I know what it's going to be about Robert Patrick's balls, isn't it?
Actually, yes. We'll get to that part in my section.
Hooray.
Stay tuned, testicle fans.
The other corner of the podcast, which has got dusty over several years, the discussion of the testicles within the Terminator series corner.
Honestly, it's a
Terminator
valid...
testicles.
Yeah,
Terminator.
Terminaticals. Terminesticles? That's a
The
funny word.
Scrotinator, there you go.
Oh, Scrotinator. T1000 ballsack.
Anyway, I'm going first, so I'm going to tell you fuckers what I've been doing.
Okay, then we're literally I don't know. It's filibustering. If it's we're stream of consciousing, waiting for you to jump in.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what was happening. Anyway, so over the last month, I guess, I've been doing a few bits and pieces. Been painting a bunch of epic minis, completely unrelated to the Legions Imperialis announcement. I started doing it before it and was like, man, I'd really like to, properly collect an army like this. And then it was like, oh, by the way, we're releasing a new game with new models that are more consistently sized, and you won't have quite as much trouble finding the individual ones you want because they'll just be on shelves. Okay. Cool, I guess that's what I'm doing then.
I guess it's pretty obvious now that Games Workshop bugged our kitchen.
Possibly so.
Yeah.
Possibly so. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that. So I've been doing 2 batches of them. So one I've been doing, which is Death Skull Orcs, I've been painting traditionally.
Because you're a madman.
So obscenely small details, occasionally having to paint orc tusks that are on a 6mm tall model. And I've also been painting some Marines, Sons of Medusa specifically, in contrast. Which is an interesting comparison. Although I had kind of a honeymoon period with the contrast, and then ever since I said good things about it, it's been nothing but trouble because it's been so fucking humid here that everything that I've primed has gone slightly wrong. And it turns out contrast really does not like it when the primer gets a little grainy, as it is likely to do when it's too humid. So that's a bit of a pain in the ass, but still, I am overall enjoying it, and I'm using this opportunity whilst things are uncomfortable to prime white to paint a bunch more of the orcs, and so they're coming along. I just finished off a thing of commandos, so that was fun. So I've now painted the smallest woolly hats I have ever painted in my life.
I actually have a related question to this.
Yes.
So on your Twitter,
Yes.
you posted a picture of some of these models, and you mentioned that you hadn't put as many models on the base as you should.
Yes.
Does that have an impact gameplay wise, or is
No.
the base just counts as whatever's on it, and you can stick kind of whatever on the base?
Okay, depends on the edition, how much you're supposed to put on there. But in gameplay terms, it doesn't matter at all. The bases have squares, squares. They have little indent circles for 5 miniatures. So if you want to put 3 on, then obviously you miss 2 out. Or if you want to put 4 on, then you do have to put them on midway and kind of build up some milliput or something in between to fill up the gap.
Yep.
But
Okay.
so yeah, if I remember correctly, sometimes they have specifically said what you're supposed to do on it, and I think Epic 40,000, which is the 3rd edition of it, which is where the strip bases started because they were square before that. Though I think that does specify 5, but when it got to the next edition, Epic Armageddon, it says anywhere from 3 to 7. Can be on one base, and you can do all manner of weird shenanigans with the size and shape of the bases, because by that point there'd been so many different standards that they'd been using for the bases that they just went, fuck it, everything's fine.
Nice.
So yeah, that's been a bit of fun. And yeah, I went out the other day and got the paints to paint Sons of Horus for the Legions Imperialis stuff when that comes out. So that should be a bit of fun. I've also been watching a couple of TV shows. Strange New Worlds season 2, of course, continues to be a very fun show.
Ain't you big for aliens?
No. Strange New Worlds is the new Star Trek. It's a prequel to the original series, as in Captain Pike, who was the captain of the Enterprise before Kirk. It's during his captaincy.
Didn't that get cancelled? No, I'm thinking the other one got cancelled.
Well, I mean, Discovery, which is the
No,
the
not
other...
that one. The other one.
Oh, Enterprise. The one in the early 2000s.
No, the one that had Janeway back in it.
Oh, Prodigy. Yes, that got cancelled for while its second season was in production, and is mostly done, from my understanding. Because apparently destroying art for tax write-offs is just a thing that's in vogue right now.
Yeah, it's a thing now.
Which sucks. I've seen a bit of it. It seemed quite good. Obviously that's a kids show, but I watch a lot of kids shows, so I'm not being snotty about that. It's just it's a bit of a different tone to the other stuff, but yeah, that's all right. And Strange New Worlds, absolutely fantastic. Also, one of the episodes does a time travel thing, and they finally give a good explanation, or at least an explanation, as to why the eugenics wars always seem to be a bit squirrely exactly when they take place in Star Trek canon.
Because wibbly wobbly timey wimey bullshit stuff.
Effectively, too much time travels made that particular event get a bit weird. So that's why in the earlier things it's described as happening as I want to say 1993 is when the eugenics war starts, and later things have said it happens, I think, in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so yeah, they gave an explanation for that, which is quite fun. But yeah, no, it was, season 2's been good so far. I think there's 4 episodes out currently. There will be 5 by the time you hear this. And yeah, they have been good, just like the first season. It might be the most consistently good from the start that Star Trek has ever been, so that's good.
Considering that's never happened before, isn't saying that much.
Some of them have had decent first seasons.
Yeah,
Can't think of them offhand.
Yeah.
Okay, Lower Decks had a good
definitely
first
wasn't
season.
TNG. That first season was terrible.
TNG had a rough first season. Voyager had a rough first season, although Voyager's pretty rough all over.
Slight correction. TNG had a rough first 3 seasons.
I don't know. I think it gets. I think season 3 is where it really picks up, and I think there is some decent stuff between season 1 and especially 2.
But a chocolate covered turd is still a turd, though.
I mean, yes.
Not if you eat all the chocolate off it.
Yeah, but then you get the residue, then, don't you?
Well, maybe what's the ambient temperature of the?
Okay. This is getting sandbagged hard.
Okay. Wow.
Room temperature.
I mean, to be fair, I think I have often maintained that I think a lot of people say Deep Space Nine also, has a rough first season, and whilst I do broadly agree, I do think it's better than a lot of people give it credit for, because I kind of like the more character-focused stuff in the early seasons before the Dominion War kicks off.
I can see that, but at the same time, it also feels like the next generation.
It does a bit. It's very much a continuation of that and hasn't quite got its own identity yet. And Sisko hasn't shaved his head or grown a goatee, which is how you know when the series has got really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So Strange New World's great. I've also been watching a less good show, which is the new Marvel thing, Secret Invasion.
Oh, is that the one that uses AI for the intro?
It does, yes, which certainly puts a sour taste in your mouth right off the gate.
Like the comic.
Right off the gate, that's the saying. Fucking hell.
Just the story, the comic story is just, it's like, do something good, like House of M. Fuck off.
I think the problem is that I'm watching it and it's just a Marvel thing, but it has this problem of I don't know if you've all noticed this, but whenever whenever the Marvel movies try and do any kind of allegory to real world politics, oof, it's often real bad. Because they often handle it really messily. This one's doing a particular facet of that, which is that it's telling the story of what if David Icke, the guy who says that there are shape-shifting reptilians in all the halls of power, which what he actually means is the Jews, but he's a conspiracy theorist. What do you want? Yeah. But what if that was true? And I don't know, maybe it's just something about the last handful of years, but something that says, what if people like that were right, kind of feels a bit like, I maybe would have told another story before this one.
It's a bit unfortunate timing-wise.
Yeah. I'm not saying you can't tell those stories, of course. There's plenty of things done around conspiracy theories. I liked, what was it? Inside Job, the animated series that was on Netflix a little while back. And that's all conspiracy theory stuff. I thought that was quite fun. But yeah, I don't know. I think because the show doesn't have much else going for it, it's just very much, did you want to see a bunch of the Marvel characters, but not the ones we have to pay too much because we've got Samuel L. Jackson in there and we can't afford any other big one. Like, do you want to see them running around and doing sort of vaguely spy shit? Huh?
No.
Nah. I'm just interested to see where it goes, but not because I'm enjoying it, but just because when I see something handling a premise like that, I kind of want to see where they go with it, you know?
To be honest, I don't think there's been a good Marvel TV series since Daredevil. That's my personal
Sobs in Punisher. Only one season.
Punisher season 1 was pretty good. Miss Marvel had its moments. Loki was pretty fun. I'm trying to remember what the other ones were now.
Oh, there's
WandaVision.
WandaVision was pretty damn good.
I need to see that still.
Yeah. Me too.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier was lib shit.
All I know about that show is that he's out of line, but he's got a point meme.
Like the bad guys are literally like, hey, maybe we should care about people. And they're like, oh, fuck. The bad guys actually have a really good point.
Yeah,
oh, no.
The fun part about Falcon and the Winter Soldier is about halfway through the season, they remember that, oh yeah, we're supposed to make the antagonists in this series be wrong about something because they are objectively right about everything. Oh, let's make them do a couple of really like bad like terrorist things because they actually have a point and we forgot to make them the bad guys. Yeah, it was a weird one. I was gonna say there was another one that I quite enjoyed, but since I can't remember it, that probably doesn't say anything good.
Yeah.
I consider the Marvel cinematic universe at this point.
Jessica Jones was good. I remember that as well. Yeah.
Oh, Jessica Jones was really good. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I forgot about it. Did they make a second season of that?
I think so.
Oh yeah, because that. What?
Then they had that team up series, didn't they, with Luke Cage and Iron Fist?
Yeah.
Everyone except John Bernthal, which was conspicuously absent. But also, I don't mind if that's kept separate.
I feel that
like he has just like literally stolen Spider-Man's web shooters and gone on a killing spree before.
Yeah.
Spider-Man beat him up for it though, so it was cool. But like just sitting there, just trying to imagine that in live action, just is terrifying to me.
Let's just say, once again, given context of the wider world, I can understand if they are, being very careful with the times that they bring out the Punisher these days.
That's fair. That's
like how they changed his symbol to an objectively much worse one, but I get it. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, what else can they fucking do, really?
Yeah.
It's a grim situation.
A less grim situation is I have also been playing a couple of video games.
Ooh, in this economy?
Been playing a bit of No Man's Sky, which I've played mostly on stream.
I've been meaning to get that since it came out, and then not for a little bit, and then it got better, and I've been meaning to play it again.
Because I think I talked about this at the time, but it was like literally 2016. My God, this podcast's been going on for too much of our lives.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think I talked about it at the time. But for people that don't remember, 8 years ago,
Go on, what episode was
well,
that on?
7 years ago.
10. I don't know.
But yeah, for people that don't remember that I was always a little bewildered by No Man's Sky because everyone was really hyped for it and was believing everything that the devs were saying about it, despite it being obviously not true because the tech didn't really exist for some of the stuff they were saying, and the rest of it just sounded like a wish list that you would have for an open world space game. So I looked at it and went, well, it's a space sim that has a fun aesthetic choice. Okay, that looks interesting. Maybe I'll check it out one day. But everyone was really hyped for it for reasons I couldn't fathom. And then it came out, and it was the game I thought it was. But that disappointed basically everybody. And over time, they've added so much to it that it basically isn't that launch game anymore. Which I know some people that did enjoy the original game has kind of put them off it because it's not as it's not solitary anymore. You don't feel as lonely. It's not, some people liked the kind of contemplative loneliness of the game, which I understand. I totally get that. But yeah, that's kind of disappeared a bit now, and now multiplayer is nice and easy to do, and so I've been playing a bit with Longfang on stream. I've played a little bit on my own as well. And yeah, I do feel that the game suffers from a problem that if you are playing it on PC and you play it with a keyboard, as I always will, because I don't get on with like anything that has first-person shooting in it, that I'm not good.
I am unable.
I'm not good with a controller with that, so I always prefer to use mouse and keyboard. Yeah, the controls are really fucking weird for it. And there's lots of like weird, like bizarre decisions about how things control or how menus work or how you interface with things where everything is not the button you would expect it to be. And I found trying to internalize that on stream whilst also, chatting and trying to be remotely entertaining meant that I just couldn't take anything in from the game. And but I did find one thing I actually really enjoy about the game, which is, do you remember the Albed language in Final Fantasy X? Where you picked up individual words of it?
Letters.
Yeah.
Well, letters. Yeah, it was letters in that. Yeah, where you picked up little bits of it to be able to gradually translate it. They have that for the alien species you encounter, but you like learn words from them. So you go up to them and basically go, "Hey, can you teach me a word?" And he's like, "Why, yes, I'm going to teach you a word." And one will teach you the word for trader. The other one will teach you the word like some some just bits of language you don't even really think of like
word
you'd need. But it's like, oh, I'm going to teach you the word the. And you go to another one, it'll teach you how to say frottage. Everything you need to know.
Oh.
And I've been really enjoying just going to the space stations and talking to every alien and gradually assembling the languages to be able to slowly piece together what some of them are saying. Even though I've assembled such a small amount of it that I can barely understand anything. But I don't know.
Welcome to my life as someone who's obsessed with trying to learn languages.
Yeah, but this is one where I don't have to remember anything.
Okay.
So it's much it's much easier than that because I cannot learn languages. Oh that part of my brain just doesn't turn on. I've tried, I have failed quite dismally.
Sometimes your brain is just not wired to do something very easily.
Yeah. But yeah, I have been enjoying it. But yeah, the controls and the interface, oof. You can tell it's designed for a controller, and yeah, it's little things like when you're in any menu, right click is back.
Ew.
And so you want to reach for like escape, but no, it's right click. Things like that, and the game's menus are full of that all over. Lots of like everything that could be something that on PCs and stuff would tend to just come up with a "Are you sure?" thing. It's all like hold down to commit things. So everything's like a hold to confirm system. And because the whole thing is built around that very console-y way of controlling things, it just puts a layer of slight disattachment between me and the game
Yeah.
that I've not quite overcome. I know I will in time because there's lots of games you can have that with. I remember having that a bit with like the Souls kind of style of play to begin with as well, because it's so different to every other like third-person action game I played. But yeah, the other game I played is Final Fantasy IX, which I have never played before.
That new and upcoming franchise. Final Fantasy.
Yeah, what I should have done is led you all down the garden path and been like, oh, so you know there's a new Final Fantasy coming out? Well, it's just come out. You know, people are all hyped for that. And
Yeah, that's
that,
not a good thing to do with someone in melee range.
But yeah, I never played it at the time because I didn't like the art style, quite frankly. I Final Fantasy VII is my favourite game ever. And I enjoyed Final Fantasy VIII, but not enough to finish it. And then when 9 came out, and I looked at it, and I went, I think I would have said something to the effect of like, oh, it's anime bullshit, innit?
Which you'd be right for saying, but also not.
But 8
you
was
don't
as
have
well.
much of a right. 7. I mean, 8
Yeah.
is probably the most kind of like anime bullshit, where it's like, I don't have a personality, and I'm a miserable piece of shit. Some hot woman likes me for some reason, I guess.
Yeah, and I'll say this.
Isn't that all the Final
because-
Fantasies, though?
See,
Pretty
this is,
much.
This is the thing with 9. The protagonist does not speak 90% in ellipses. A rarity in this era.
But I did see what he said earlier, which was a chick with a husky, sexy voice, and then he said he did like
Look,
yowza.
I didn't say the personality that
Awooga.
replaced the ellipses was a positive. But yeah, I'm playing the remastered version that's on Steam. So it has the odd thing where all of the models are running at like a modern resolution, so that's running at 1080 with the best like textures possible. So though they're pretty rudimentary models, the textures are really good. But they obviously couldn't re-render the pre-rendered backgrounds, so those are still at like whatever the PS1 ran at, which is like 320 something.
That's like an old PC gamer trick you used to do. If your hardware wasn't quite up to it, you'd like lower the detail of everything but put the textures up high.
Yeah.
So it would give the illusion of being better, but the performance would be like slightly better.
Yeah. So it's a little. It took me a little bit to get used to that. That is a real disparity between certain elements of the game. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it. To basically play an old school Final Fantasy of the type that I personally prefer, but that just I don't have any experience with. So it's quite fun to discover a game that everyone else has already discovered, you know, and for it to all be new to me. So I'm playing through without a guide or anything. I just want to, try and do it like without like worrying too much about what I'm not unlocking or what I'm missing. Just trying to play through like as I would have at the time,
Organically.
Oh yeah, an organic playthrough. And then if I really, really enjoy it, maybe later on I'll do one where I'll go through and do absolutely everything. But yeah, it's quite fun. I will say, because I'm like 4 hours or something through the game, so I'm not hugely that far through it, but for Final Fantasy anyway. But I do hope that they stop emphasizing how much the lead female character Garnet. I really hope they stop emphasizing how she is 16 years old all the time. They constantly harp on it. And then with the new high-res textures, you go, that is an upsettingly well-modelled arse. Well, well-detailed, textured arse you've put on that 16-year-old.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
I really hope that they reel it in, but let's be honest, it's going to get worse.
They haven't mentioned her age in like an hour, so I'm hoping we can go forth without any uncomfortable things where they're like, look at this smoke show who's 16, which is a little weird. Especially because the style of the game is like kind of these kind of more chibi looking kind of style characters. So everyone looks like a toddler anyway. It's a little weird, but it is part of the style of the thing. But at least the characters have returned to being a little bit more fun. Because as much as I do love 7, Cloud's not the most fun character a lot of the time. I'm really glad in the remake they made him more fun.
Well, they gave him a bit more personality. So.
Yeah, he's a
He's a
lot
miserable
more.
piece of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a bit more sardonic in the remake, so it's like...
Yeah.
He just seems... He's just a little bit more endearing.
He's not as cool as Zack Fair, though.
Oh, no. I think that's where most of his, like, douchiness comes from, because he knows he'll never be that cool.
And Squall is the peak of that.
He's just peak anime boy.
Yeah. But yeah, so it is quite nice to play one that at least, you know, the characters seem to be having a bit more fun with things, and you know, that's kind of fun. And Vivi is adorable, so that's
See, we have a friend called Violet who I call Vivi a lot, so it's been throwing me through a loop going, oh, Vivi's so cute. And I'm like, well, yeah, but what a weird thing to just say out of nowhere.
She is not a 4 foot tall black mage.
She is not.
So
She's a red mage.
Yeah, she's a red mage. Duh.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'll carry on playing it. Who knows? Maybe I will report back on a later episode. But for now, yeah, that's me done. So I will pass over to our esteemed guest Remleiz. What have you been up to as of late, my friend?
Same old, really. Script writing, editing videos, that kind of thing. I recently got a new Fury video finished. That's already available for patrons. I'm not going to make that go live until after I finish the second one I'm working on, because it's going to be part of a double build, because they are technically, like, they're tangentially related. They both cover the same faction, technically speaking. So I want to basically make it. I don't want to release one, then, like, you know, a week or like 2 or 3 weeks down the line, release another one on the same subject, because people might go, that's a bit stupid, isn't it? So that's why I'm trying to do it as a double bill kind of thing.
There is the whole problem of the content creator thing where you're like, look, I've been doing a lot of work, you just can't see it yet.
Yeah.
Also, everybody should go follow Remleiz on Patreon.
Oh,
Just saying.
I'm not going to plug anymore because it's not my place, not my show. But anyway,
Go for it, dude. It's fine.
yeah, patrons can already see the first video. If you join over the $2 tier, you can join the Patreon exclusive Discord, blah blah blah, and something crickets. Sorry, we were going to add that in
$10
post.
plus is feet, like weekly feet pics, which I'm subscribed to. Honestly, there's some quality feet pics in there.
Okay. You shouldn't joke about things like that, because some people probably will sign up for that reason. No means next.
Can you imagine getting in, like, you get like a $10 patron, and then like a week later they're like, I was missold this Patreon subscription.
Just gonna go check WikiFeet to see if there is a Remleiz entry.
I honestly don't know if that's a real site or not. I can't tell if
You
you're
know,
joking.
it legitimately is.
It
It
is,
is,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah,
What is wrong with people?
there's a reason why there's a couple of times, like I think it's in the bat reps we've done,
Where you're just a slut with your toes out.
where I'm not wearing socks because it's my fucking flat.
People have sent you print screens of your own feet. You're like, okay.
Like I've blurred them out before because I'm like, fuck, I don't want any part of this. Fuck you.
For some reason I'm now reminded of you probably have never watched it considering it's wrestling related, but have you ever heard of a show called Quizzlemania?
Yes.
Right, because one of the game rounds they have in that show is a game called Whose Nips Are These? And they have to try and guess
Masterful.
which wrestler these nipples belong to.
Wonderful.
I am very, very well acquainted with Eddie Guerrero's nipples.
This sounds like an oddly sexual version of a round from I think I've talked about this before, but there was a like Nevermind the Buzzcocks-esque panel show that was launched very briefly on the BBC that was about cars. You know, when they just like try different formats of like, this is
this the one with Chris Barry on it?
Yeah, and it had
an insufferably boring car.
Yeah,
nerd.
they had Chris Barry on it, who is just a big car nerd. So one of the rounds was, we're going to show you a small part of a car and you have to guess what it
We're going to
was.
show you this car's nipples.
Basically.
And you have to
I remember
figure
that.
out.
And Chris Barry would just get it instantly, so it was just really boring. That show lasted, I think, 1 season.
Yeah, because Chris Barry probably answered everything with like the most joyless kind of, that's from a 1997 Toyota car. Yeah,
Toyota-
I don't know.
Toyota car.
Yeah, I don't know shit all about cars, obviously.
Well, that's from a Vauxhall Cavalier.
That's what I said.
Excellent car, by the way.
We are not doing this. You want to talk to me about cars? We talk about Utes, we talk about Mustangs, and we don't fucking talk at all.
We talk about the Vauxhall Cavalier.
What about a tuk-tuk?
What?
A tuk-tuk.
Tuk-tuks.
Okay, tuk-tuks are amazing.
Tuk-tuks are great.
Yeah, I stole one in Far Cry 6 that was painted to look like a crocodile.
Yes.
So cool.
But yeah, no, it's a similar format to that, but with less nipples and more headlights. And more boring, presumably.
Yeah. So we're talking about wrestlers' nipples, and I completely have, like, microdosed to becoming a ghost and just completely forgot what we were talking about.
Speaking of which, I need to send you another Dark Side of the Ring at some point with.
Oh, good. Those are
always so
always
cheery.
so fun.
I'll send you the one about XPW, the porno wrestling company.
Okay.
Which ended up having a situation where a guy was sleeping with the promoter's wife, who was a porn star, and to get revenge, the promoter sent a couple of hired thugs around his house who beat him
He
up.
fucked them too.
No, they beat him up and then cut off his thumb with a pair of garden shears.
Oh,
To be fair, that's like probably a really good cut because some of those garden shears are really good.
I think
I'm taking the wrong thing away from this.
I think I've said this before, but like, I when it comes to wrestling, there is so much of it. Like, obviously, wrestling is a fiction. It is sports entertainment.
It's theatre.
But it's theatre.
Yeah.
But
No joke, it actually is a form of theatre.
yeah,
no, absolutely. Yeah.
But nowhere near enough of it is fake. Way more of it should be fake. So much of the weird shit that goes on behind the scenes that absolutely doesn't have to, but it's just because you've got a lot of very big guys who are
Taking
given
a lot of brain
of
damage.
very interesting drugs that do a lot of interesting things to their brains.
It's
In
pretty
fairness, that was
horrible.
more in the 80s, the drugs thing, but
Yeah.
Yeah, very
I
much so.
think the silly thing is when you get, like, people doing insane risks for very little reward, like the time when you had someone climb up the scaffolding of a building to do an elbow drop off onto a guy on a table and then missed and hit the concrete floor elbow first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Reminds me, there was some wrestler, some poor guy who fucking died. I think it was Sean. I can't even remember his name.
Owen Hart.
But yeah, what? Sorry,
Owen Hart.
Owen Hart. That's the one. Yeah, he literally did a big drop in and just fucking died. And it's just like,
That's because he was given the wrong harness.
yeah, completely wrong. He just could not support his weight because
It
wrestlers.
was designed for like unhooking a sail for like a yacht or something, like to do a quick release. And it's like this is like a 250 pound
Yeah.
man. It's not
Yeah,
designed.
imagine
this
him-
man is gigantic.
Releases under 6 pounds of pressure.
Yeah,
You might as well have just attached into a wallet chain.
you literally might.
been
Yeah,
more
just giving him
secure.
like a napkin, like fucking like parachute. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. It's like there's between all of these like the weird stunts and people making decisions after being hit in the head repeatedly for a living.
You can just say Vince McMahon is a fucking. It's fine.
Oh, he's awful.
He's
He's
disgusting.
an absolute monster.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's always fascinating to me of how much of the weird shit just goes down when it doesn't have to. Like,
And then on the
There's
other
so-
side of the spectrum, you get things like Joe Hendry.
yeah, see, I approve of that man's
Is that the man
energy.
who's like there was that weird thing where he keeps popping into this couple's kitchen because
Yeah.
he's like shagging the guy's wife,
Yes.
and the guy's like, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fucking great. I love him.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
And he threw the remote control car at Moose's dick.
He did.
Incredible.
I don't understand wrestling at all, but
That's
it
okay.
is an interesting thing to witness as an outsider, I will admit.
It's a very interesting thing.
But yeah, you been up to anything else there, Rem?
Not really, to be honest. Just mainly,
Oh, dude.
mainly work, to be honest. I'm currently writing a script about the Tau that's in its first draft, sitting at about 5 pages for its first draft.
God.
So when I do the eventual
So like
rewrites,
7,000 words.
I will tell you how many words the initial draft is at currently. If I load up
I'm
Word.
currently writing just a
About
piece of
3,000
fiction.
words, I reckon?
Shut up. I'm currently writing a piece of fiction that is up to 27,000 words.
It is
And I'm-
currently. Yes, I know it's running a virus scam. Fuck off. It's currently.
It's currently.
30,000 words. 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 30,000 wor It's currently.
It's currently.
3,000 words exactly.
Hey.
Oh, I hate you. Okay, Wib can just do this. He's like the numerical whisperer.
It's
he'll
almost-
literally like shut the fuck up.
It's almost like I write scripts and I know how long scripts like will be on screen.
I
so,
wish
like,
Rem
you
had
know.
just lied to me and said I was right just to fuck with you.
It's actually
always-
12,406.
Wow, you're writing a really small font there, dude.
I know. It's like 1 pixel high.
Yeah. My Google Drive my Google Docs keeps doing that to me, where I'll be like, oh, new sentence, and it's like, this is going to be at 3 pixels, at 0.3 font.
I have no idea how you've managed that.
I don't either, and I'm
And for some
so
reason, the
mad
background
about
behind the words is now changed from white to grey.
Oh no, I always have mine in dark mode. Because I'm so goth, I have to type with a black background. It also is nicer for my eyes.
It is supposed to be better for your eyes.
Yeah, I
so-
prefer reading
It
like
is,
that.
yeah. It's not as bright. That just reminds me of that Alpha Booster has Discord in light mode, and everyone's like, why the fuck are you having it in light mode? What's wrong with
Okay,
you?
so like, apparently Alpha Boost is a serial killer then. I don't,
He's
like,
the
light
poultry
mode?
monster.
Oh, well. But no, like, light mode on anything is the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
It frightens me. I don't like it. Scary. Oof, very bad. I'm gonna message him at the blue and be like, "Is it true that you used?" That would be a great rumor to start about someone you don't like.
I don't think it would.
Yeah, it would. I think it'd be so good. Is that what you're doing, Remleiz? Do you hate Alpha Booster? I'm gonna add him right now and just ask. It's like, hey, Alpha Booster, Remleiz says you use light mode. Is it true? Do I have to hate you now? No, I'm joking.
I've been meaning to talk to him because you've encountered like a character in WoW that unironically had the same kind of description as his Tauren with the most diseased feet, except they did it because it was sexy. Apparently,
No, I didn't encounter
I'm
this.
sorry,
This is-
what?
Okay, so I play World of Warcraft.
You poor thing.
Yeah, I was waiting for everyone to go, ugh, which is fair, yeah.
I mean, I have too much history with that game to judge anyone who plays it.
You really do. But yeah, no, I play on roleplay servers, and you have add-ons where, like, you can, like, if everyone else has the add-on too, you can fill it in and you mouse over them and it shows you their roleplay things, like, they can have, like, a big fancy name, they have titles, they have
I
character
wasn't expecting you to say name then.
What?
They have a big fancy.
Name.
it should be noted that yes, if you don't know, Alpha Busa of TTS and Hunter the Parenting fame,
Plays WoW.
he had a I don't know if he still plays
I
them.
hope not, but he had
But
a
he had
Tauren.
he had a Tauren, and their whole thing was that they were like a foul, diseased mass, and he would describe their like oozing hooves.
No, I remember once, I literally read his profile while I was, like, talking to him and Erndal, I think. And, like, I was reading it and it was like, oh, so, I can't even remember the character's name. It was like, so-and-so has spongy hooves filled with pus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I literally was like, Alpha, what the fuck? Like, that, and he thinks it's fucking hilarious because he's Alpha Booster and he can fucking do what he wants. And, like, a friend of mine, Plasma Dragon, he plays on American servers, but he's also a role player. And because the American servers are way more populated. And, like, he was wandering around and he encountered a Pandaren lady whose roleplay profile was pages and pages and pages and pages of levels of how disgusting her feet were. But there were levels of it. So, like, level 1 is ingrown toenails and smelly. Level 2 was, like, getting gangrenous. Ooh. And, like, they were like, just tell me what level you want for erotic roleplay.
Is there a level 0?
I hope there is a level 0 where you just delete that person's, like, home computer. And they just, I don't know. I mean, like, to be, like, ultimately, what are they hurting apart from my psyche? But, like, yeah, and, like, this was a while ago, but we do need to tell Alpha Boost. It's like, hey, someone did this thing that you were doing, but for, like, very real, unfunny sex reasons.
Yeah, your
Because,
irony, your ironic thing has it is true, and someone jacks off to it.
Yeah, someone just saw that and was like, oh, actually. Like, oh.
Which I think is just the internet in general, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Connecting people in the worst possible fucking way.
Yeah.
It's like that thread I saw on Reddit. Okay, fuck Reddit. But, like, it was on an Ask Reddit thread going, ooh, what what weird thing do you find attractive, or that turns you on, that you're embarrassed about? And people were like, I like women with glasses. It's like, wow, fucking women with glasses. That's some sick shit, my guy. You should literally just...
Such devious kink.
Yeah, deport yourself to a fucking monastery, you psychopath. It was just so weird. And like, I'd like it when men have just got up and they're a little bit disheveled. It's like, yeah, famously hated and shamed by everyone.
Then there was that guy that was like, well, I always get aroused when the dentist puts his hands in my mouth.
Yeah, and I'm like, the next time I go, I'm due a dentist appointment. Next time I go to the dentist, I'm going to be cringing, because that coupled with me like finding there's like one person I've found who writes fan fiction where all of it is dentist like AUs, where it's like, I read one and it was like a character from Kingsman Secret Service who is now a dentist, and I'm like, and I was like, oh, that's a weird thing for a fan fiction. And then it was like, oh, but what about this character from Star Wars who's like Poe Dameron, who is now a dentist? And it's like, what the fuck?
I want the fiction where the weird slug guy from Rise of Skywalker is a dentist.
It'll be there. That person's probably writing it right now. Like, oh, Palpatine's like, open up. I need to see if you've flossed.
Like, you be into whatever you're into, but I do feel at a certain point, if you're writing fan fiction where you are reimagining...
it's hardcore pornography.
If you're reimagining characters from family movies as fuck dentists, you're not really writing that character anymore, and you're just writing your fuck dentist fiction, and all power to you.
I mean, great. I mean, it's a very specific kind of thing to have. I mean, I don't think they should feel shame about it, but
isn't that how 50 Shades of Grey came into existence? Because it was written off as
50 Shades of Grey was a Twilight fan fiction. And it's fucking terrible.
I mean, to be fair, the Divine Comedy is Bible fan fiction, so...
Yeah,
but the Divine Comedy is actually good.
Then there's that, it's a weird, like, teenage TV show. Where it's got, like a obnoxiously, like, orange-haired woman, and they've all got, like, weird tribal tattoos, and it's, like, a high magic kind of thing. That literally started off as a Ron and Ginny incest Harry Potter fiction.
Oh.
Yeah, and the woman who wrote it is a lovely woman. Libel laws in the UK are terrible, so I've heard some unsettling things about how she may or may not have conducted herself.
It's only liable if it's in print. If it's spoken, it's slander.
Thank you, J. Jonah Jameson. To be fair, that's how I remember it as well. But apparently not well enough.
Not right then.
Literally got Spider-Man like wallpaper staring at me. I should have fucking noticed that. But yeah, so that's my weekly like adventures and weird fan fiction that I've read.
Yeah. In a section that's supposed to be about Rem. But,
Hey Remleiz, you know that coffee shop AU fan fiction that you read where the character talks like this, and it doesn't have a stutter, they're just being a cute ooh anime person?
No.
That was... Yeah, you do. Come on. I wrote it for you. You should remember it. Anything else, Remleiz? Get me out of my hole? Please? Okay. Fucking cricket sound effects. Okay.
Good. Excellent.
I will say this, though. I do need at some point to watch through the Ginger Snaps movies again at some point.
Ginger Snaps movies are fucking legit. They're great.
They are. The third one was a bit weird. Yeah, it's like, it's now in, like, colonial times in, the American wilderness. It's like, what?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the ending of that really pissed me off, because I'm not going to spoil it, but I was just kind of like, well, for God's sake, Ginger, okay. Because she just says something.
Well,
and it's
that
like,
was fucking pointless.
Yeah, it literally, they might as well have looked at the camera and went, sorry, we wasted like an hour and a half.
Yeah. The first two were good, though.
First two were really good, yeah.
I remember the first one being good. I remember being a bit like, about the second one. Although it was a long time since I've seen him, so.
But yeah.
The third one was just confusing. It was like, why is it in the 1700s? Why?
Yeah, it's like in the mid 1700s, and they're like just colonizing America,
like in the Colorado wilderness during the winter or something like that.
Yeah, and then it's like, and the sisters have always existed. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? And they've had the same names. And they've had the same name. It looked exactly the same.
And the little werewolf kid.
Yeah.
It's the problem of like any kind of long-running media thing of that it can't, like you start off and it's just, oh, we're telling this one story in this one place, isn't that fun? But by the time you've done several movies, you've built up lore. You've built up like an expectation that this should be something more than just, oh, hey, sometimes some people are werewolves, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I mean, like, good on it, because I think more things could kind of stand to just go completely outside the box. Just
I think
because
more
it's interesting at the very least.
I think more things should get Jason X'd,
Yeah.
I was going to say, it was part of the reason why I enjoyed Prey so much, because it was basically Predator, but now it was like set in, in the 1700s, so it's like the Native Americans and cowboys and all that shit.
Yeah.
But Predators, it's fucking awesome, and the Predator design that was fucking fantastic. So I love this
It was really
biomechanical mask. That was brilliant.
No, that was honestly, I really like the idea.
He
I
just
felt
bodies
it could have
that
gone...
bear and just like gorilla presses him over his head. It's like that's fucking awesome.
It's like they could have gone way harder with it though, and I kind of wish they had been like, because like with the main character in that, they tried to seemingly make her a lot more human, and it's like, no, Predator's action, fucking sci-fi, just go nuts, make her like just punch a bear to death, like just let her do that, and like fucking who cares? But like I like the idea of it, but yeah, it was damn sight better than the Predator. Fucking hell.
Oh, the Predator was terrible,
mate. That was awful. It's just.
Oh, we're gonna have a super Predator, and it's like the Predator's even scarier before, and it's like, no, it's fucking not.
I'm just like, no, and it's all CGI and fucking dreadful.
And what was it like? The next stage in humanity. Oh, this kid's next stage in humanity because he's on the autistic spectrum.
Yeah, and they were like, oh,
What?
the Predator's going to come and not... Because it turns out the Predators take spinal columns not for trophies. They remove the spinal fluid and genetically enhance themselves. And apparently they've only now realised that people on the autism spectrum exist. And now they want to take this kid's spinal fluid and modify themselves with that.
Oh, wasn't the guy who was in The Punisher in there? But let's play the guy with the Tourette's.
Oh, I know Boyd Holbrook was in it. Fucking shit. Like, Keegan-Michael Key was in it.
Like, he was playing the guy who kept shouting, like, porcupine in the pussy or something.
Oh, the Tourette's. He had Tourette's, but only when it was supposed to be funny.
So what I'm guessing is that this movie does not have a very sensitive depiction of
People with, like, any kind of neurodivergence.
Yeah.
No,
I was just going to
really
say, the
not.
movie doesn't have a sensitive depiction of a movie.
It's awful.
Dreadful. Oh, and like the dog that ate the grenade, but it's like it's a predator dog, but it's literally like a dog with predator dreads, and then it got brain damage and ate a grenade, and then
it was just being a doofus idiot following the woman around, and it's like, okay,
it's like, this is terrible. Like okay, at least with Predators, that basically a battle royale version of Predator that had the guy from that 70s show. That was a better done Predator film than the Predator was.
It really fucking
when Eric
was.
Foreman is a more genuinely convincing character in a Predator film.
A quick question: is the Predator better or worse than AVP?
Worse.
Really?
By a country mile.
Very much so.
Because I hold AVP in a very...
AVP at least tries to go, no, there's established set of rules when it comes to predators and aliens. We won't deviate to... I'm not saying...
AVP had the advantage of having Lance Henriksen in it.
Yeah,
True.
that really did up it. And
The
I
Predator
do like Boyd
is
Holbrook.
just dreadful.
It is just... It's like an older dude who thinks he's really funny.
Okay, because
and just won't shut the fuck up.
I just remember the ending with the guy getting the Predator power arm at the end, and he turns himself into a Predator. I was like, what the hell? It's almost as bad as the plot of Concrete Jungle, where the mafia boss is genetically modifying himself with Predator DNA to turn himself into a human Predator hybrid, and then the Predator ends up fighting him with a pair of 3 Japanese assassins. It's like, what the actual fuck is going on in this game? Oh, they also happen to have a pet alien hive as well. Okay,
that's
then.
That's the most late 2000s shit you can fucking come up with.
And we all know that if you want to make yourself
it was
like if you want to make yourself a suit of like power armor, then you have to dig the sand trout out of the ground.
We're not
and
doing
then
this. We're not
make an
talking
armor
about
out
Dune.
of.
We're not. No, we're not talking about the incel slug emperor who's like, God, wish I had a dick.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say because because I hold AVP in a special place in my heart. Not a place of fondness, a place of extreme disdain. But because it's like the first movie that I watched, and I remembered being like sort of coming out the other side of being a teenager, where basically if it had explosions or fighting, I was kind of entertained. Of going, actually, this was proper shit.
I literally saw AVP at the cinema with my then boyfriend, and he would like, because we knew a guy who worked there, and he was like, "Oh, didn't realize you guys were here, Oz," because like no one called me by my name; it's always Oz. I was like, "Well, what are you two doing here? Having a date night?" And he was like, "Yeah, we're here to see Alien vs Predator. It's her version of a chick flick." And I'm like, "That's the only thing you've ever said that I've agreed with." And I was like watching it, and I was just like, "Oh, this isn't very good. Oh no." But yeah,
bad.
miles better than the Predator.
Okay.
Because the Predator has jokes like they're like escaping the military prison bus, and the guy, they zoom in on the guy, and he points to a bunch of like motorbikes and goes, "Get to the choppers," and then it pauses for laughter.
Oh.
Yeah, and you're like, "Oh, I hope all these characters
like
die."
like Predator,
Like Predator.
Oh,
The 1987 classic written by Jim and John Thomas. I know. Also, like, Sunny
With the end credits that look like a sitcom from the 80s as well, the end credits.
I love how it's like like Richard Chavez as yeah, exactly. But like, oh my god, fucking Sunny Landham was such a piece of shit.
Didn't he need a handler on set because he kept beating everyone up or something?
He kept trying to start fights, so they needed a bodyguard to protect everyone else from him because he was such a prick.
real.
That 1,000-yard stare was not a joke.
The other thing I know about that film is because they were portraying like, you know, elite soldiers, they had to go on like a Navy SEAL training course, and they were all struggling except for Jesse Ventura. He found it easy because he was a Navy SEAL. He was, yeah. He was a Navy SEAL, then he became the governor of Minnesota, and then he became a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
I think to say that he became a conspiracy theorist is sort of negating
we were made
that
aware.
I think he always was.
I meant to say he became best known for being.
He came out.
There you go.
He came out
as a conspiracy theorist. I'm proud of him. But no, like he literally had a.
It's like a pride flag with Mothman on it.
No, that's just like Mothman belongs to the queers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, like he literally was like, "Hey Arnold, we'll have a bicep measuring thing, and we'll get the wardrobe ladies to do it, and like, you know, whoever wins gets $200." And Arnold's like kind of smart, so he said to them, "Is like, could you like reduce the measurement by like an inch and a half?" And they were like, "Yeah, all right." And he's like bragging, and he's like, "Yeah, measure him again," and just completely humbled that man. But yeah, I have a fucking... Okay, this is such a specific nitpick. Okay, on the subtitle track...
Okay.
On the subtitle track of the DVD version, it pisses me off because when Blaine is killed by the Predator, spoilers, the Predator kills one of Arnie's team.
LeShock.
Right. Mac comes out, and because he's friends with Blaine, and upon seeing Blaine's fallen dead body, he picks up old Painless, the chain gun, and empties the entire fucking bandolier into the area in front of him because he sees the Predator's eyes flash. Now, that point, he shouts, "Contact." And he's very upset because he's just seen his friend get his chest exploded, basically. And so he screams, "Contact," which is, "I have engaged the enemy, I need backup." The subtitle track says that he's screaming the word sergeant. Now, Mac is the sergeant.
He's a Pokemon.
He's a Pokemon at this point. It's like, no. Sorry, that is such a nitpick, but I fucking get mad every time. I'm like, no, that's not what he's saying. He's saying contact. He's not shouting his own rank like some kind of special forces Pokemon. That's silly. Okay, I'm done.
Anyway, shall we move on to the Drummond Matthews,
the Drumbled match,
and see what you have been up to, my friend.
Yes. Okay. I suppose I will allow that.
Well, I mean, you can. You can just sit there in silence, but I mean, it wouldn't be great. For, like,
it wouldn't be silent. I reckon it would be silent for approximate It would be silent for approximately 4 seconds before Snipe said something stupid.
Them's fighting words.
But they are true.
Yeah.
Because I'd just come out and be like,
Wars have been started over less. Lest we forget the War of the Bucket.
the War of the Bucket.
a real event, yeah.
Also known as the Bouquet Wars.
Hey.
Hey, everyone remember Keeping Up Appearances? That's not stupid. That's nostalgic.
Matthew, please,
So,
please
I've been
save us
doing,
from this
doing
cul-de-sac.
some stuff. We finished watching.
I very nearly said I'm stuff because that was just my knee-jerk reaction because I've seen it everywhere online. Like, sorry, I was late. I was doing stuff, and then the person next to them goes, I'm stuff.
See, whenever I hear someone say that, I just immediately think of the horror film The Stuff. So I'm doing stuff. It's like someone's having sex
Ew.
with flesh-eating ooze. So I was like, that's not healthy.
Some like to live dangerously, Remleiz. It'd be like, you know, like that science silicon kind of like putty, like the slime that Instagram's obsessed with? It'd be like punching one of those which, like, with your dick, I guess. That's how sex. But then how would you like Okay, yeah, you know
Matthew,
what? This is not something
please.
I want to
Yeah,
have recorded. What have you been doing?
I've done some stuff. So we finished watching Reservation Dogs.
Yes.
I can't remember how much did I speak about this last time.
Reservation.
Yes, I tell you what. Rather than try and work out what I mentioned about it before, for the benefit of Remleiz, I can just quickly give a quick summary, and then if I hadn't done that before, that covers all our bases.
Yes.
So it is a TV show. It is on one of the TV streaming services. I forget which. I think it was on Apple? I can't remember. It was on one of them that I had a free trial for. For totally about all of the first both seasons, and definitely legitimately watched it on said streaming show the whole way through. Yeah. But it's great. It's really good. So we got into it because it was billed, or we found out about it as being a Taika Waititi series. So kind of went into it expecting it to be like any of his other series, which are, you know, all of us have similar kind of vibe, and they're all great so far. But it's actually nothing like that at all. It's set on a Native American reservation in one of the middle states of the US. I forget which. Yeah, I can't remember, but it's somewhere in the middle. And it's like the first Oklahoma. I want to say Oklahoma. Anyway, I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. It's one of the first, possibly the first, to be filmed like entirely on one of these reservations. Like the entire main cast, Native Americans, and it's just a bunch of like teenage kids, like it's their life, and like they're like trying to save up money to get to California because that was a dream that they had, or one of them had. And it's just showing them like occasionally doing, you know, petty thefts and things, and just kind of like showing their life. So it's ostensibly a comedy, but man, like basically every episode we finished it like having equal part laughing and crying. There's like so many like real bits in it. It's great. And then the first season's kind of that, and then the second season it goes off on one in that it's still sort of ostensibly about that, and that's the general theme of the series. But like the middle like 8, I'm not sure if it's exactly the middle 8 episode, but like the bunch of the episodes in the middle, like there would be an episode about, this episode's just going to be about one of the kids' mums, and it's just a whole episode about them. And then this episode's going to be an entire backstory episode on the local cop that's like they're from their neighborhood and things. And it's like, these are really interesting stories that I feel like most series just wouldn't bother with. And they're just, rather than showing any of the main characters, they're just doing this random spin-off episode almost. And they're all great, and all these characters are also like have so much depth to them. They're also like funny and sad, and yeah, it's great. I highly, highly recommend it. Various trigger warnings for various things. I think the whole overarching series is that it used to be a 5-person friend group, and now it's 4 because one of the kids died by suicide. So like, you know, warnings for that. It's a comedy about. It's not about that, but like I said, like every episode we ended up like basically in tears and laughing at the end of it, and we're like, what is happening with this show? And yeah, it's really interesting because it was Yeah, it had Taika's name on it, and he like co-created it with the main creator, who I can't remember what their name is, to be honest, because they haven't done anything famous before this, so they're not like a famous name, and they like co-created it together. But it was based on this other guy who is Native American. It's like I don't know if it's based off his experiences or whatever, but like Taika very quickly realised that like this is not my story to tell.
Still in Haho?
He
apparently.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right.
I've
not. Yeah, I've never said it out loud, and I have no idea what the pronunciation is. Yeah, Taika very quickly stepped back and was like, "This isn't my story to tell. I'll keep my name on it." So then, because like we probably wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't for his name, because we wouldn't have heard of it, because no one would have promoted it or whatever.
I like how there's a character called Cheese.
Cheese is the best. Cheese is the best character.
Cheese is like the best.
Cheese spends the entire series as introducing himself with his pronouns and things, and gets like ridiculed for it by all the other like grown-ups and things, and he's just like takes absolutely like water off a duck's back. He just doesn't even notice, and he's just being wholesome the whole way through. All the characters are really wholesome. Yeah, it's really nice. But yeah, Taika stepped back from it and said, right, I'll leave my name on it as like co-creator. Now he directed the first episode, but after that, this isn't my story to tell, so I'm stepping away, which is really interesting.
Waititi is such a cool guy.
Yeah,
fucking
seems
hell.
like every time I hear about him, he's one of those ones where like he's gonna do something awful because I like escalate him so much or elevate him so much on this like pedestal or whatever, but he keeps so far living up to it.
He's like Pedro Pascal. He's just amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, highly recommend it. But yeah, spoons required for various episodes for various reasons, but it's very funny and very good. What else have we watched? Oh, we watched Nimona. Have you watched it yet?
I've heard so many good things, and I really do want to watch it.
Oh,
yeah, I do want to watch it, because I've heard it's very good.
Okay, so I'll do a spoiler light review.
Or maybe just don't put spoilers in it. That's cool.
Okay, that's cool. So it's you have an allocation of you can have no review or specifically two spoilers. No, I don't know. Yeah, it's fine. No spoilers. Okay, well, it's great. It's very queer loving. There's like
a friend of mine watched it twice in one day.
Yeah, So it's based off a webcomic that became a what do you say? Meat Universe comic or
Meat Space?
Meat Space comic. It became
a Meat Space comic that's a digital comic. That's not Meat Space.
No. It became a real comic, like a printout, buy it from the shop comic.
It became
a web comic that became a physical comic.
Meat comic.
That is not what I said.
Yeah.
Meat Space comic.
Just lick your thumb and flap through the meat pages.
Yeah, exactly.
They use the same technology they do to make
lab-grown meat. They're just printing it now.
It's wafer thin ham, but just with words on.
He's wafer.
So what's it called? The like clown meat or the Billy Bear?
The incredibly overly processed stuff that I wasn't allowed because you're an adult at 9 years old. Yeah. You don't need to eat Billy Bear. And then there was a girl in my class at my private school who always had Billy Bear ham, and we'd throw it at like a very particular teacher we hated. And we would throw food because like our classroom overlooked the courtyard where all the kids played, and he'd walk in loops with his like lunchbox on his stomach and just be eating while watching the kids. We would throw food at him. We'd never hit him, but we once got a grape into his lunchbox, and he made jump, looked around to see who threw the grape, looked down, looked around again, and then ate the grape like really suspiciously, and we were like, fuck that guy.
I'm going to be honest, I would not eat a grape that I was not sure of its origin.
This grape has an unknown origin. It's the forbidden fruit.
Hey.
But yeah, this guy, literally, my brother bumped into him in town, and he had gotten up midway through his dinner to go get a Greg's. My brother, he literally was like in town, and he bumped into him, and he was like, "Oh, Mr. So-and-so, I didn't expect to see you here." He was like, "Yeah, I got halfway through dinner and felt a bit sad, so I thought I'd get myself a steak bake." He literally stood up midway through Sunday, like basically the equivalent of a Sunday dinner, and just walked 20 minutes to Greg's.
The man knows what he wants.
Which is
grapes thrown by children.
And Greg's midway
He's been
through
chasing
your
that
dinner.
high ever since.
Chasing that grape
He's
pie.
like, oh, that was the best grape I ever had in my life, and everything since then is just not
to
really
be fair, that was
up.
from a guy I went to school with called Jake, who's like...
It was so good, it was grape.
Oh, boo! I'm so angry I didn't think of that. Nice one.
I did note a thing down of using a thing from that as the title of this episode, but then I realised we have in the 141 previous episodes, one of them is already about grapes, and I feel that having two episodes named after grapes of a podcast that is ostensibly
not about grapes.
Sort of like video games, wargaming, and TV shows is a bit weird.
It should just say this podcast is not about grapes.
This podcast, okay, yeah, this podcast is absolutely not about grapes.
Robert Patrick's grapes. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
The return of
grapes,
the
which may or may not be on display.
Garia grape.
The grapes of wrath.
This was also the grapes of I don't know, boredom. Because like we got so bored at that school, we would like basically do everything but add the prefix of extreme. So we had extreme blackboarding because you know blackboards have like the lip on them where you put the chalk and the dusters.
There you go. Extreme grapes. There you go.
Extreme. No, that was that was extreme lunching.
Or extreme grapes.
That's what
I don't know.
Extreme Greg's. But no, so we'd have like, you know, and then we'd run in from the door, jump and land on the thing and then throw ourselves off it.
On the little lip.
On the little lip of the blackboard.
blackboard.
We also had extreme windowing, which only half of us did, which was where we opened the window. It was a two-story fucking build, like old like country house that they converted into a school. And we'd open the window, we'd like run up to it, jump, catch ourselves before we fell out of the window and throw ourselves back into the classroom. I am surprised any of us are still alive. Yeah, we had extreme escape and evasion where we just go into, because it was in the middle of the woods, we just go into the woods and they just not come back, and the teachers would be like, they're fucking escaped to the woods again. There was a certain place on two of the fire escapes where if you punched it, if you kicked it just right, you could open it without setting off the alarm. Now, one of these led into one of the younger like years like classrooms, and the teachers would always lock the doors when like they left for lunch because of us doing shit like this. My friend Jenny and I snuck up the fire escape. We put a barricade of like 4 or 5 like desks. They had the old like school desk, like the wooden ones with like on the hinge that you kept all your stuff in.
Oh, they still have the ink pots.
Yeah, still had the ink pots in them.
My primary school was like in an old Victorian building, and it still had those.
Yeah, and we've stacked like 4 of these against the door, snuck back down the fire escape, and just shut the door. And we completely forgot about that because we went and, like, I don't know, smoked or something because we were shitheads. Came back and, like, heard this tremendous fucking crash because, again, it was just an old, like, fucking country house. And one of my teachers was super kind. It was not racist because I'm white, but, like, she refused to call me by my name. She always thought my name was Matilda because I was Australian. And she just screams, Matilda! Across the entire fucking class. And I'm like, the fuck did I do? Oh, yeah, that's what I did.
You know, whenever you describe things from your school days, they always make me think of the stories from Spike Milligan's war memoirs.
We were prisoners.
More specifically, there's a story when he's in basic training. I think it's when he's in basic training, and he and a group of his friends at night would like go out and just go out into the woods and have a big stick.
Oh, you fight with the stick? We used to do that.
No, and then just beat the woods. And I remember that story specifically because he has the stick that he found, which was a particularly impressive club.
Oh, nice.
That he had named Ye Crust Modifier.
Because he hit the woods with it. He was beating the Earth's crust.
I think it was because about hitting someone in the head.
Yeah, that'd work.
It would
too.
modify their crust.
Okay, that's fair.
But for some reason, that phrase "ye crust modifier" is just, you know, when you read a phrase and it is stuck in your brain for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Even if you only ever read it once, it's just in there. Yeah, "ye crust modifier" is just one of those for me. It doesn't get to come up as often as I'd like.
Yeah. No, we never went out into the woods and beat the floor with sticks. We beat each other with sticks. We threw each other down. Because like half of us were like, wouldn't it be cool if we pretended to be stuntmen?
You do all sound like soldiers in training, like that
Funny
level of boredom.
In fairness, I thought it sounded like more like Grange Hill, but
it was more like Biker Grove because we brought paintball guns to school. That is a joke. We did not, although you fucking thought I did for a second. To be fair, the amount of times like I've never had anyone explicitly call me out for lying because like these stories
Can't believe you blinded Adam Partland.
Yeah, what serves him right. But no, like I'm surprised no one thinks I'm lying because, like, honestly, like if you don't believe me, okay. But also, like, these are all legitimately true stories. And, like, I've had people call me out on pretending to be Australian. But not on, like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to think of one stupid thing we did at school, but they're all blending in together. I can't even fuck. Oh, we would steal things from the kindergarten beneath our classroom, set them on fire, and chuck them down the hill. Because there was fuck all else to do. So, like, we used to sneak in extra cans of deodorant to set shit on fire in the woods. Because it's England, nothing burns. Well, at that point, we hadn't reached that stage in climate change where...
Yeah. Everything was just mildly damp all the time.
Yeah. But no, so we do that because that was another, like, our building, our classroom had, like, a fire escape down to, like, a stairway down to the kindergarten section, which was just, it was just a room. And we break in there and be like, we stole a little, like, shopping trolley once and set that on fire, and that went up, and that was plastic. And we were like, what kind of fucking weird-ass plastic are these Luddites buying that can just...
I hope none of you, breathed in any of that.
Oh, probably, but, you know, I've already had cancer. Like, you know, how much worse can it get? But yeah, and there was one where I had a slow-mo escape from my German teacher. That was pretty fun. So, okay. Oh, this is the last one I'll tell, I swear to God. I literally, we never had... Like, before we even got out, at the highest year in the school, we had our privileges revoked before we even got to that year. Because they hated us.
I don't know, you do all sound like nightmares. I understand.
Okay, I've told you about my teachers and the views they held.
Oh yeah, they were awful.
Absolutely.
But like, I can understand why they would feel the need to try and rein you in.
Yeah.
With your giving Viking funerals to, like, small toys.
Yeah.
And,
but we did it away from the fucking, like, school, so, you know... And to be fair, we know those was like the back of our hands. They tried to chase us a couple of times, but they just couldn't. Like, we literally built like an underground, like, fucking, like tunnel that, like, it was so fucking dangerous.
Yeah, no,
seriously.
don't fucking build like.
No,
do not go into a tunnel.
It was just big enough to crawl in.
Yeah, that's really fucking.
I
dangerous.
got 6 feet in, and I was like, drag me out, and they couldn't hear me. The sound absorbed my screaming so much, and I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here. This is death. The fact
that none of you died is a miracle.
Yeah. We used to sneak into a as well.
Oh yeah, you could still get in there at that point.
I probably should bleep that, actually, because that tells you exactly what school I went to. Okay.
yeah, you probably should.
There we go. But yeah, so I can't remember. I called someone a fucking arsehole in German, and I didn't know my French teacher could also speak German, and she told my German teacher, who punished me herself. It's fucking weird. And she literally, like, at the end of the hallway, that was our classroom, and 10 feet down was the fire escape. I came out of, because what we would do as well, there was the handworking room, where they teach us needlework to be good wives.
I was going to say handworking room, I was having a completely different idea there.
But they had like 400, like there wasn't that many, but there was like 40 light bulbs in there, and I just gone out on my third trip of just unscrewing the light bulbs when the teacher wasn't looking, and just taking them and putting them in the bathroom bin, which was opposite the handwork room. And I come out and she's like, she shouts my name and I freeze. It's like the Wild West. We're having like a fucking standoff, and I look at her and she looks at me, and I my eyes glance the fucking fire escape, and then hers do, and then immediately she knows what I'm gonna do, and she's like, no, and I fucking bolt. I have never run faster in my life. I shoulder barge the door open, skid down the fire escape, and I flee into the woods.
Again, I don't think you had a schooling. I don't know what you had.
Oh, no, I think I was penance for these people.
Yeah, like, everything.
And I wasn't the worst one.
Everything you tell me just sounds like your entire school year was something that just happened to the teachers. They sound like they deserved it.
Can you understand why I had to leave to go to college early? Because the head teacher was like, I'm going to fucking expel your child.
Yeah.
If she leaves or I expel her.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, I did always want to go to art school. Peace. So anyway, Drummer Matt, sorry, I went on a super excitable tangent, and it was probably really annoying. I apologize.
I will tell you what I tell the 3-year-old. I don't mind you interrupting my stories. In fact, I like hearing your stories, and if you want to tell the stories, that's fine. But when you come back to me, don't expect a fucking coherent thing from me to remember where I was up to.
You say this to your 3-year-old child? Like, listen to you little bastard!
Paraphrased.
I'm gonna tell your wife on you. I'm telling on you and getting you done.
Shit, yeah.
It was Reservation Dogs.
No, it wasn't.
Yep.
It was Nimona.
Oh, it was Nimona. Yes, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's how far off the rails we are.
Nimona is a animated movie, I guess, based on a Meat Space comic, which is based off a webcomic. If we go
by Nate Stevenson.
Yeah.
There's a person who did She-Ra.
Yes.
Which is very good. I need to watch it.
Very good. Very, very good. And yeah, I hadn't read the webcomic or the meat comic. the physical comic. But I'm going to now because I'm going to buy it. Spoilers, it's good. So I'm assuming the comic is good. And yeah, it's great. I love it's based around a shape-shifting creature who like presents as like a girl. Gonna say with 15-year-old, who knows? Something youngish, teenage probably. Girl, but obviously he's a shapeshifter, so doesn't necessarily identify as a girl, and identifies as a shark and various other things. And there's quite a trans allegory to it. I
have seen a lot of queer people be very, very moved
and make some very good joking ways of saying all these things that you transphobes are saying are stupid. Do you not realise how stupid you sound? But like, not it. But like, it's great. And yeah, the setting is cool. So I read like a quick paragraph summary of it, and it's about like the main characters, because Nimona is like sort of the main character, but also sort of not. She's the sidekick to possibly the main character.
I get Last of Us vibes from it. I get Joel and Ellie vibes.
Okay, yeah,
because I literally my media literacy is so poor.
I'm getting real Boss Baby vibes from this.
Mate. What the fuck?
Have you not seen that tweet? It's like it's like guy who's only seen one movie and it's Boss Baby watching a second movie. I'm getting real Boss Baby vibes from this.
You say that, but you've been hearing some of the fucking like brain genius takes I've been hearing about Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah.
So like fucking don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, yes. So
the main character is arguably a knight called Ballister.
He looks like a sad cat.
He's very attractive.
Yeah.
Sad cats are hot. Like, yeah.
What about
cry,
grumpy cats,
kitty? Oh. I don't really want to explore that any further.
No, let's not explore that feeling. Let's bottle that up deep inside.
Yeah, and it's basically I was reading that, and the main character, this Ballister, is a knight, and I was kind of expecting, therefore, the setting to be like either historical or not really historical, but set in like the generic
olden
past
times.
when you had olden times when you had knights, whether it's on this on this earth or in a different setting, but it was like knights, or it to be fantasy. But it is neither of those things. It's kind of sci-fi. Almost, it's like set in the near-ish future where like there's there's all these electronic screens everywhere, and they're in just a big city with like a subway, and it's set in the future. But also the army of this town state is just they're just knights, and they have like swords, but they're sort of energized swords a bit, but not like laser sword lightsaber things. They're just like
I wonder if there's other settings that perhaps have like people wandering around with swords, even though it's the future.
Yeah, but it doesn't at all feel like that. It feels like its own thing, and it's the way, and they're all wearing like knight armor, as in like full plate.
It's pretty sexy,
and yeah, it's just a really cool setting. And yeah, the story's great. It's a little bit. Ruth mentioned on the way through, she's like, it's a little bit on the nose. Like, some of the jokes are a bit too obvious and overplayed. I was like, yeah, but it's a kid's thing. She's like, oh, because she was just kind of watching it, didn't realise it's aimed at kids. It's great for grown-ups as well, but it's not like, a grown-up comic, a grown-up
Yeah.
cartoon, like designed for grown-ups. It is aimed at kids pretty much, and like so there is a few things that are like a little bit too obvious or overblown, but like, well, that's as a grown-up watching it, and she's like, right, okay, cool, that makes it make sense, and that's fine. And it's good. And yeah, the main knight has he starts off as like I don't know, it's not stated if they're boyfriend or partner or whatever label they've got on it, but they're a couple. Mm-hmm. And then this is a minor spoiler, but this is the entire plot of the entire thing. So it's like, you find out there he gets like framed for something he didn't do, and the film is about him getting redemption on it, or redemption adjacent thing. And so they like falls out with his partner, and then they make up again by the end of it. But there's like a same-sex kiss in it, and they're not like, it's not implied that they're a couple. They are, and it's stated. Aww. And like, it's just great. And yeah, it's Netflix aren't trying to do anything weird by like saying it's not for kids, or it is just a kids film. And these things, they don't make a big deal about any of these things. It's just there, and it's very, very refreshing compared to a lot of things.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great. Disney obviously cancelled it while it was in development, because
that's just all they're doing.
yeah, but it got rescued, and it's great. I highly recommend going to watch it. Not going to by going to watch it, I mean, I guess to go to the web browser and load up Netflix, because it's on Netflix. Yeah, it is good. Highly recommend. Don't do the thing where you hear too much about it and think it's going to be too good and then don't watch it. That's aimed at you three specifically, and also the audience. Like, it's great. Last thing I've been doing is playing a game. A video game? It is a video game. I finally been playing...
is it a meat game?
Super Meat Boy?
Yes, it is. It is a meat game. It is a meat game. I bought the cartridge because it was cheaper to buy the cartridge than to get the download of it, because obviously that's the world we live in right now. Mm-hmm. No, I've been playing Zelda, finally.
Oh, yeah. What's it? Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Which I will never forget because of when they announced the title of it.
Oh, yeah. When...
Where?
When our Madge carked it.
Yeah. When the Queen died was the day they announced the title. They just didn't make a big deal about it in the UK till like a week later, because they were like, this is a bit insensitive. And I was like, no, do it.
No, do it. It's fucking hilarious.
It's the best. Rems, I don't know if you're up to date on any of this, but I've been wanting to play this game for like months, but I've been playing... I get very limited gameplay time at the moment because of, life. Yeah. And I was halfway through the Talos Principle, and I can't not finish the game and move on to the next game. I couldn't like start a new game without like stopping the old one, so I had to finish that. And it just took bloody ages, and it got frustrating, and long story. But finally... Despite having owned it for like since like day 2 or whenever, I finally got around to playing it.
Fair enough. I know with the Talos Principle, there's a way to actually complete the game in like 2 minutes, like with the very first puzzle. Like if you line up just right, the sun becomes part of the puzzle, and if you complete that, you get to the secret ending. So you can get it done in like 2 minutes.
Nice. Yeah, I did not realise that.
It's like with Far Cry 4, I think it is.
It's Far Cry 4, where it's like, if you just wait for him to finish his phone conversation, he comes back in and it's like, okay, cheers, you completed the game.
It's like the Crab Rangoon, right?
Because that is the best, if that is the best choice to make, apart from obviously not for playing a game.
Yeah, I love video games when they do that. It's so fucking funny. I love it.
But yeah, Zelda, so... The context of this is that the first... I'm going to say the first Zelda. Obviously, I don't mean the first Zelda.
First Switch
Zelda. Zelda on the Switch, as in Breath of the Wild. I've got about 120... I just looked before we did this. I've got about 120 hours on it, which, yes, is a very small number compared to a lot of people who've played it a lot longer. But for me,
we're all
in
very
life
proud
right now,
of you.
120 hours is a big commitment.
For you, that's a lot.
I finished it. I did as many of the extra... I didn't collect every collectible of everything, but I did, like... all of the side quests and as much as I could find and like look up and things as well. And I bought the DLC and did that as well for getting a few extra dungeons, or I can't even remember what the DLC was. You got a bike, I can't remember, but yeah, I did that and I played it a lot and I loved it. So I've been looking forward to this for a long time. And okay, so I wrote some notes on this about a week ago. So as of now, a week later, I'm just about getting into it, but my notes from a week ago are not. They're not positive. No,
you don't like something.
My first bullet point is I don't like it, which is weird because I was expecting to. It's the same game just with more levels, basically. As you know, they wanted to release it as DLC originally, and then they're like, "There's too much for DLC. We need to make it into a full game." And I mean, just looking on the surface of it, of how much stuff they've added, that is kind of justified from what it looks like. It's not just like they're not just trying to make more money. Because to be honest, the amount of DLCs they would make out of this much content and how much they'd sell the DLC for, they probably would have made more doing it that way. I don't know.
Glad they didn't, which is honestly pretty.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah. So there's a few things. They said, and like pretty much all of these come down to either me not being good enough or me being silly. So before anyone moans at me and says, "Oh, you should just get better," fair comment, but shut up.
And also not a fair comment. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, also that. So like, yeah, you start, and obviously you start off as like Link from the previous game. So you're like, I don't know.
Past, you say?
Yeah. But like, I don't know whether it's like your save file Link, but anyway, you've got like 20 hearts or whatever, and you've got the Master Sword, and you've got all the armor, and you're all decked out. And obviously, like, you can't start a new game like that because then there's nothing to develop or whatever. Like, so there's obviously got to be a way, and it's fairly like not too jarring that they knock you down to back you. You know, you're starting 3 hearts and lose all your equipment and all that sort of stuff. And it's not too. It's like, okay, fair enough. This is a thing that happened, and it's not too.
It's a sequel
silly
thing.
Yeah. Like, okay, they've got to do this somehow. But the side effect of that, and again, it's you know, I've not played the first game for quite a while, and you're down. But because you're not familiar with the controls anymore, or the mechanics or whatever, and you're down to 3 hearts. Like, I just died a lot in the first few hours because there's no.
I think they probably should have given you like there should have been like a half and half. It's like, oh, you get knocked down, but you're not like starting from the very beginning. Because that feels kind of like, okay.
Well,
so
yeah, but
I did all that shit.
It is a new game, though.
It is a new game, though, and it is.
Game.
I don't think they could have done it. This is like me complaining, but I don't know what I'm complaining at because like there's nothing. I don't think they should have done it differently. Like, it's a new game, and if you started from halfway through, you'd miss out on that early. So I don't think they should have done it different. But
I kind of am just looking at it from like the fact that it was supposed to be originally DLC and then they made it in a new game, and like I guess I am looking at it kind of a bit of a skew.
Yeah, because like you'd lose some of that like gameplay. I guess you'd cut the game length down, or like I don't think they could have or should have done it differently. But the point of this point I'm making is that it didn't get me off on a particularly good foot of it, like dying every 10 minutes or whatever it was for the first hour or two. Just like, you know, you'd fall off something a bit too high and you've got no heart, so you've got no buffer. And because you're starting again, you haven't got any of the various, you know, you haven't got the like glider thing that I was used to. When you fall off things, you've got the glider, it's fine, or all your various special abilities and things. You don't have any of those yet. So you just fall off something too high and you die, or you pull a boss that's a bit, or like not even a boss, but like a slightly too hard enemy. And they just can just one hit you pretty easily because I've forgotten how to time the jumps to dodge their big swings. Or it's nothing that they should have done differently, but it just set me up to be like already in a bit of a grump with it, just off the start. Then they start introducing the new mechanics, right? And because obviously they've got to introduce. It's a new game. They can't just. You've got like various functionally magic things you can do. They're ancient technologies that you've got the power of, and there's slightly different words for it in the second game to the first. But effectively, you press L1 and you have different magic abilities you can do. So the first one they introduce, or is it the first? Either I can't remember which way around it is, the first and second. But one of the first two you get is fusing. So what you do with this is that you get any of your weapons. So it could be like a really basic, like just a tree branch or anything basic, and you can like fuse items onto it. So you could fuse like an enemy that you've killed's horn onto it, and it would make it into like constructs. Like soldier horn or something, and it changes what it is, and it gives it a bit of a buff, and it makes it better. But
I've seen Link's horn.
Like, it's just like you can. It just seems like unnecessary busy work. Like, I know before there was that weapon degradation mechanic, and like, you know, your weapons degraded and you've had to find new ones. It was a bit annoying, but like it was done as well as these things can be done in the first game, I think. Like, I've definitely seen a lot worse. And it was fine, and you got used to it and whatever, and there was plenty of weapons around. But this one is like, the big deal is that you can always find, it doesn't matter if you're weapon based, because there's always something around that you can bodge together, but it just makes it seem like, so far, and I might get into it more, but it just seems like a bit of unnecessary busy work. Like, you can do it with arrows as well. But to do it with arrows, every single time you shoot an arrow, you have to press up on the D-pad and fuse it with something. Or you cannot, that's fine, but then your arrows are just worse. So it means that every shot you do, you have to like press up and then choose which ingredient you want to fuse with the arrow, and then like press fuse and then shoot it. And you're like, well, yeah, that's really annoying.
So you can't just fuse one and go, okay, and then basically it'll be like last fused arrow, and it'll just be that until you change it or remove the...
No, because it's like, because there's various, there's some of the things you can fuse like increase the damage, but some of them like make your arrows become bomb arrows or fire arrows or ice arrows or element arrows or whatever. So you wouldn't always want it to do that. But it just means like, if you don't do it, because I can't be bothered with the arrows, especially. Like with the sword, it's fine. It's on your sword, it's on your weapon, it's fine. Like, it's a bit silly, I'll get to that in a sec, but like, it's fine. But it's really annoying, the arrows. And every time I shoot an arrow, I'm just like, oh, but this isn't doing as much damage as it should be. And it's just in the back of my mind, it's like, oh. And then on the swords, it just makes them look flipping ugly. Like, one of the first things you have to do is like fuse a boulder to the end of your sword. So you go up to like a giant boulder, it's like way bigger than Link, and you just fuse a boulder to the sword, and it becomes like a rock hammer basically. So you can smash rocks, or you can smash down like doors and various things in the world that are like interactable. You can smash them, and it's way easier to smash them with a boulder like a rock boulder, than it is with just a sword. You wouldn't make any damage. Fine. But like, first it's weird that this giant boulder that's like bigger than Link, it like shrinks down to be sort of sword size, so it looks like almost feasible that you could handle it, but it's still which is like weird. It's like, well, how does this shrink? I know it's like magic, for want of a better term, but it still feels weird. But it's still massive, so you have this like sword holster on your back with this massive boulder that's like bigger than Link's head, just bouncing around everywhere. And it's like, all the weapons just look horrendous when you're like fusing anything to them. I'm like, oh, this is just ugly now. And it just, I don't know, it's just, yeah, I cannot get behind this new mechanic. It just feels unnecessary, and it might, I don't know, it's one of those things I might get used to, but my first impressions, I'm not a massive fan. And then the second one, so this is the one you might have seen, there's loads and loads of videos. So before, in the previous game, you had, it's called Ultra Hand now, and I can't remember what it's called before, but you could use it to lift up and move around specific objects on the game. Yeah, I can't remember there was a lot of limitations to it in the first game. And I can't remember what the limitations was, whether it was only, wooden things, or it was a very small subset of things you could do it with, and you can move them around. Now it's way bigger what you can move around, and then you can glue things together. So you can like chop down 2 trees and then glue them next to each other to make a raft. And then,
just like real life,
as you progress through the game, there's like loads of stuff that you can do. Like, you can buy all these, like, whatever the new alien race is called, I completely forget. But they're like techie, and they've loads of, they do things like there's fans, and there's wings, and there's wheels, and there's steering columns, and you can make all manner of different vehicles. And I think at some point you can make like wandering, like basically dreadnoughts, effectively, big wandering mech things. And
yeah,
I've seen make aeroplanes and gliders and bikes and 4x4s and all manner of stuff. But yeah, my first impression with this is you want to join a raft, so you make a raft because you want to get across this lake. And right, so you start off, and the big gist of it is because they don't want you just to re-explore the same, Hyrule in the same as the first game. So you start off, and there's basically a whole bunch of sky islands that have appeared. And you start off on a big one of those, and there's like a whole 3-dimensional to it. So there's like, you can, and I've just, at the end of the tutorial island, I've just jumped down onto main Hyrule. But there's like, there's the Sky Islands, there's Hyrule, and I think underneath Hyrule there's like a whole underground, underdark situation thing going on, which is like as big as the whole map from the first game. Like, it's basically the same size as Hyrule, but I haven't got there yet. But this Sky Island thing, it's got like a lake, and it's similar. It's similar. Some of you will get this reference to, on Discworld when the like sea overgoes the edge of the disc, and there's a like fence there that stops stuff falling off. It's basically that. There's a big lake on one of these islands, and it's got a big waterfall and thing, and there's a gate. There's like a fence along the whole side of it, so the water falls off the edge of this Sky Island, but stuff and you don't fall off. You're trying to get across the island, and you can't swim across. You haven't got the stamina, and it's too far.
Just like real life.
Yeah, so it's pushing you to make one of these rafts. It's giving you this fan thing, which basically, if you glue that, you make a raft, like I said, glue 2 of these logs together, and then stick a fan on the back, and when you hit the fan, it blows you across. Fine, okay, it's trying to show you the new mechanics, that makes sense. The first 3 times I did this, I got to the other side, I mistimed the jump off the raft and landed in the water. Because of the current of the lake going under me, the raft is pushed right up against the fence. I'm pushed under the raft and get stuck there, and your swim isn't powerful enough to go against the current, so I just can't swim out, so I'm just stuck. You haven't unlocked any teleport things yet. You can't use the Ultra Hand ability to move the thing while you're swimming. I was just stuck there and couldn't work a way out, and I had to just restart from the save. And I did this 3 times.
Oh,
I fully appreciate it was me being an idiot for mistiming the jump. I should have just waited till the raft got a bit closer to the shore and jumped off then. Like, fine, I fully accept this is my fault. But it was fucking annoying. Like,
there are certain situations where even if they are your fault, it still puts a sour taste in your mouth.
I'm just like, oh, this is just... So I've already had to restart from the latest save multiple times, like, from dying from stupid things. And now I've just had to do it 3 times from this. And it's like, oh, this is... And yeah, so far, I don't know. Again, like, once you get later on in the game, you can make some really cool things with this ability. And there's various ways, like, you can save your creations so you don't have to build them each time and things. But so far, it seems to be very much pushing you to solve every single possible puzzle with this thing. Like, you don't need to, you can't climb this surface because it's ice. Oh, just glue 8 tree stumps, tree logs together, move them so they're, like, on a slant and you can just walk up onto this thing. You're like, well, yeah, that's a solution. But it feels like, I don't know, it feels like they want you to use this join mechanic thing for everything, and it's getting on my tits already.
Well, it's maybe the controversial opinion then. I've mostly seen people be really on board with it.
Yeah, I think, and like I said, I'm getting used to it now, so it's kind of, this is my thoughts as of a week ago, and I've given it a few more hours since here, and like, I'm cooling on a lot of these opinions, but these are just my initial thoughts, and I still agree with them all, despite like getting over a lot of it. And the last one, now this is my last one. It stopped me at one point. I just turned the switch off and I was like, I'm just not playing this anymore. And it took me like a few days to come back to it. So there's like, it's the same as the first game. There's like, you go to you're on the tutorial island basically, and you go to a few of these shrines to unlock abilities. And the third shrine is in a cold area. It's similar to the first game. It's in a cold area, and you have to go. Oh, okay, it starts to damage you if you go into this cold area. I need to find a way of warming up. Okay, I played the first game. That's fine. You can cook some spicy peppers and eat that, and that gives you a buff that means you withstand the cold better. Fine, great. Did some of that. Was exploring around and blah, blah, blah. And then it didn't... I just happened to have not cooked up much other food. Got hurt a few times because I kept, being hurt and being nearly dying, as I've mentioned, because I was bad because I wasn't used to it and things. I ended up... The only food I had left was the cold buff food, so I ended up eating that to get my health back. I ended up in the middle of a cold place with no more of the cold buff food left. But my cold buff ran out because I was exploring and just having fun looking around. But I couldn't find within any sensible distance of me another cooking pot. So I couldn't cook any more of the cold buff stuff. And I was in the middle of this cold place, and like you've got through every 20 seconds you lose half a heart, or it's not those numbers, but that's every some amount of time you lose half a health. You only have 3 hearts. You can't get more than a minute or so without dying in the cold, without the cold buff. But I couldn't find within a minute of where my save was anywhere where I could find more cooking pots to cook up more of the food that gave me the buff. And I was stuck here for like a whole evening, being like, "What? How do I get out of this?" I tried running back the way I came. I was like, "I'm not starting again from a save," despite that being like, that would have saved me time in the long run if I'd known how long it took me to work out what to do. But like, I was like, I'm not repeating this whole section. This is stupid. But I'm just stuck. And I was like, this is so... Again, I should have prepared better. Fine, it's on me. But it was just very frustrating. And the workaround, I googled this, and a few other people have got stuck in the same thing. The workaround, right? You run forward as far as you can towards the next bit. Because like, eventually you get to the shrine, there's a cooking pot on the way, and it's fine. But it was beyond like my radius of how far I thought I could go.
Yeah.
You go as far as you can until you get down to half a heart. You save. You let yourself die. You restart from your latest save. And if you do that, you restart on the 3 hearts.
Oh.
So, okay. But at first I tried it. I tried this little workaround. I saved and reload the save. If you reload your save, it doesn't do it. So you specifically have to nearly die, save, and then restart. And if you die and restart, so my like number of times I've died and restarted, I'm sure there's like achievements or whatever for like not dying. Like I've very much not done that.
You're going to unlock the new achievement for dying the most times not in combat.
Yeah, I just had to explore for like a minute and then die, save, die, reload my save, run a bit further until I eventually found the cooking pot. And I'm just like as much as this like tutorial island is like well designed and blah blah, and everyone's like praising how much it is, this is a stupid cycle I've got myself stuck into. And like, again, all of these things are arguably my fault, but they all added up to be just not a pleasant first 3 or 4 hours of the game, and it really put me off it. And it was just
understandable,
very surprising, because I was just going into it with like so much excitement, and it's just it's just mildly bizarre. But but yeah, I've powered through the next few hours, and I've unlocked a few more of the like abilities, and I've just jumped off the first like tutorial island back onto the like mainland or the Hyrule proper or whatever you want to call it, and I'm just about getting more used to it again. So I might change my opinion dramatically on all this, and I'm excited to play it again. Now I've done this a few hours now, so that's something. Because at one point I was like, I just can't be bothered with this anymore. And I almost didn't bother. And I was like, no, the modern games are too bloody expensive to not stick with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, weird I was not expecting to say any of these things and have such a like downer on it. So it's, yeah, I thought it was quite interesting.
I'm glad you're at least kind of getting into it a bit.
Yeah, it seems to be that I'm getting more into it now. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to have like a rant. I don't tend to have rants about things so much, but I just had to vent all these stupid little problems I was stuck on.
I know.
I get you.
Get it out.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm still going with it, and I'm enjoying it more now. So I guess that's the takeaway. But I wanted to just vent. But yeah, that's me done. Snipe, I believe you're next.
I am indeed. So I've done actually quite a lot of things, but I only remember about half of them.
Okay, that's good.
Which is better than most. Seen a couple of movies. I'm going to talk about my favourite one. First, I went to see Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Dude, that movie is amazing!
It's a good movie.
Oh, Miguel O'Hara, I want him to choke me to death. I want to die in his arms.
Oh.
I don't have a choice.
Oh.
No, he's a really, really cool character, because if you know anything about the original Spider-Man 2099, you're in for a shock. That's a little thinger there. God, that was so bad. Not my joke, it was incredible. But Miguel O'Hara from the comics is kind of a bit of a edgy shithead. So yeah, I really like what they did with this character in this. There's some very fun cameos. It's like Spider-Punk, I'm sure everyone has known by now, he's amazing. Jessica Drew is amazing. All the characters are so fucking good. The voice acting is so fucking good. And I am going to die waiting for 4 years for the next one.
It best take 4 fucking years because they don't want them to bloody crunch people again to get the damn thing out.
Yeah, yeah, thanks,
I would
capitalism.
I would rather good things don't come from misery.
Yeah. But no, really good. Looks like stylistically it's beautiful, of course. Spider-Man India is a precious cinnamon roll, and I will keep him safe no matter what. And yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything. It's just fucking incredible. Go see it. It's so good. I really am upset that fucking the Beast Wars Transformers movie has already got fucking digital media produced, but oh no, I have to fucking physical meat media produced, but no, I have to wait until September to get the meat Blu-ray of Across the Spider-Verse.
I don't think that the Blu-ray's not out for Rise of the Beast yet. You can just watch it digitally.
Okay, because you could watch Spider-Verse Across the Spider-Verse digitally. Since the 18th of June. I can't remember exactly.
It won't be June.
I can't remember.
Is it this month it comes out?
No, because you can't rent it on Amazon and stuff like that. But the thing is, it's okay, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna have a little bit of a complaint. You can buy it digitally, that thing that means fucking nothing, and big companies can revoke your ownership at any time that they feel like, with no warning, because fuck you. The world is owned by exactly 5 corporations, and just give them your money and go die, basically. And it's you can pay 15 quid to buy it digitally, or you can just spend 15 quid on the Blu-ray as a physical thing that Jeff Bezos would have to come to my house and physically restrain me to stop me watching it, which I'd love to see him try. So that's a little bit annoying, but that's okay. Also, there is no merch available for this fucking movie.
All you want is some action figures.
I just want some articulated action figures. That's all I want. Luckily I managed to get Gwen Stacy. She's literally standing next to my Morak Din, both Black Series and Vintage, having a great time. And I need to get all the other ones now. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, incredible movie. I don't want to go into it too much because I don't want to spoil anything. But I fucking love it. It's amazing. I saw a movie that maybe wasn't so good. Terminator Dark Fate.
That's the last one they've made, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate this movie. I don't care how attractive the enemy Terminator is, and he's pretty attractive, but I just can't fucking care. I don't care how many old characters they brought back, because fuck this movie. I hate it so much.
I like the bits with Old Man Terminator.
Yeah, that was fun. He's actually very funny. Which I'm like, okay, yeah. But no, it feels like they just kind of guessed what Sarah Connor might be like. It's like she has a couple of things where she literally just says the same thing that she said in Terminator 2, and you're like, wow. No.
Yeah.
It's they really mishandle Linda Hamilton, and that's an unforgivable sin I cannot abide. There's the Protector is like, she's like an augmented human, and I'm sorry, this is not the role for that actress. I don't think anyone should have been in this movie, quite frankly. But yeah, no, she, like, I think her name's Grace. I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen it. And she's just, I don't reckon she can pull it off. It's not good. And like, she is like, oh, I exerted energy, now I need this one drug. And you're like, okay, cool. And there's like a couple of things where they're like, quick, we need to go, because they're in like Mexico. And it's like, oh, we need to go to those famous Mexican pharmacies where they'll just give you anything. And it's like, okay, a little bit iffy, but sure. They get on the back of a train and try and sneak across the US border. And I'm like, this is not the movie to handle such a difficult subject. Fucking hell. The woman who plays, oh fuck, I can't remember her name. Gabrielle, I can't remember, but the main the target for termination, like, she's cool. I like she's pretty cool. Is it Danny? I think it's Danny, and her brother's Diego or something like that. Shock horror, Diego is literally just killed because, oh, we need someone to die so the main character's sad. Let's do that. And it's like, spends the whole movie, and I'm going to tell you the twist because don't fucking watch this movie, it's awful. It spends the whole movie being like Sarah's just like, oh yeah, Danny, you're going to have a baby that's important, that's why you're being saved. And the Terminator, like half Terminator woman, nothing like fucking salvation, thank Christ. The augmented woman is like, I'm just gonna stay quiet, even though everyone knows it's her, and it's not a baby she's gonna have. It's her that she is the important one, and it's like, and then at the end, like towards the end, it's like, it's not you, it's not a baby you might have, it's you who's special, and it's just like. I wish I'd seen that at the cinema so I could hear someone in the background going, no shit! Or be that person and just be insufferable.
The Terminator movies post to have had the problem of things happening and them being twists, and you going, yes, I figured that out like 40 minutes ago in the movie.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't expect the twist of Arnie being in it. That was a nice surprise. I mean, like, you know, there was a couple of funny moments, like, you know, Sarah's obviously like... Because, okay, spoiler alert, they like deep fake her and John in the beginning, and it's like, oh, after the Terminator killed itself and set on fire, we went to Mexico, and then there was another Terminator, shock horror, ooh, there's the second T-800 that was an evil T-800 that just goes and fucking shoots like John Connor in his chest at point fucking blank range, and you watch a child die. And you're like, that's cool. I'm so glad that entire thing was worth it. And it's just, and it literally goes, oh yeah, but also Skynet doesn't exist now, but Legion exists. And I'm like, that's the cringiest name you could have picked. And it's just, I don't like it. It's not very good. I could easily go on about it for many an extra hour, but some of us have, you know, lives, not me. So I've played a couple of games. I've played Red Dead Redemption 2, which I quite like. The color scheme, the control scheme is fucking disgusting. Quite frankly, I don't know what it is about Rockstar Games. That's literally just fuck you. If you have if you have any needs to rebind, fuck you. They want you dead. I don't give a shit about the story really.
They say fuck you, buy Grand Theft Auto 5 again.
Yeah, really. And
because they're re-releasing it on PS5, and so it's been out since like the PS3 and Xbox 360, and they're re-releasing it on PS5. So fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off. Like, just stop it. Make GTA 6 or piss off, quite frankly. And like, I don't really care about the story. I just want to ride a horse around and go hunting. That's kind of like I am being very kind of story averse in video games lately.
Eat some bear stew.
Oh, I've been eating rabbit stew. Very delicious. And another game I've been playing is BPM, Bullets Per Minute, which I love. This game is so fucking hard. It's literally like, like Crypt of the Necrodancer, where you have to move to the beat in order to be able to move, or keep up a combo, and you can do more damage. It's a roguelike, but it's a first-person shooter roguelike. Oh. Which is like, you're ticking all my boxes. And it's got a really cool metal soundtrack.
The soundtrack's very good.
Yeah, the soundtrack's amazing.
Because I've heard you play it a lot.
I have played it a lot.
I tried playing it once and went, this is not for me.
It is really hard because you can move and run around you don't have to do that to the beat, but you have to jump, shoot, reload, and use items or abilities to the beat, which gets fucking hectic. And I'm a pretty good bassist. But I'm no drummer, Matt, when it comes to keeping time. So it took me a long-ass fucking time to do any of it. And, there's, loads of characters... Because it's kind of themed around, you play as Valkyries going through, stages. And the stages are randomly generated, and there's, shops and
the full-on roguelike experience.
A proper full-on roguelike experience. And once you complete the game on easy, you unlock the secondary ability. Once you complete it on hard, you get that character's ultimate ability. So you have 2 extra abilities, which you can swap at any time, but it just means you start with them, which makes things a bit easier. The first character, Gaul, she's pretty standard, kind of whatever. Then there's the next character, Freya, who only has armor, and that doesn't regenerate. So, unless you find armor pickups to buy or just find them randomly in the world, you can't use health potions because you don't have health. And there's other characters that their health is constantly draining. There's another character that can throw coins, and another one that is literally a one-hit kill. If you get hit, you die. And you only unlock the ultimate, final character by completing the game with that guy. And I'm like, well, that's something I'm never going to do. But it is incredibly fucking hard. But the music is so good. The guns feel good. It's just a really nice little game. And I really do recommend it. And, yeah. That's me.
Okie dokie.
That's everything I've done.
Well, I know, Rem, you've got to head off very shortly, right?
I do, unfortunately, sadly. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Would you be able to stick around to just answer a couple of questions, quick ones?
Where were you on the night of the 60th?
Yeah, just because I asked on Twitter for questions, so I'll just we won't get to many of them because some people have places to be, but we'll ask a few. So from our friend Shanus, what's your favourite aspect warrior? This goes for everyone.
Swooping Hawks.
Swooping Hawks?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else have a particular favourite?
Let me just Google what an aspect warrior is.
I'm definitely not doing the same thing. It's fine.
My aspect warriors, those Craftworld Eldari who specialise in certain aspects of combat in there.
I like how we just say that.
Time on the path of a warrior. My favourite is Dark Reapers.
Oh, I was going to say Dark Reapers. Fuck off.
Oh, fuck off. No, you fuck off. Okay, you can
just say Striking Scorpions.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
I'll say
Shining Spears. I'll tell you that they sound fun.
Okay, and I'll say Dark Reapers, yeah, love those fucking guys. Damn, they're great. What about you, Wib?
It's a very obvious answer, but I do like Howling Banshees. I just like the design.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Here's an interesting one from Samus. Apart from 40k, what are some other franchises you'd feel that you'd enjoy doing like a deep dive or lore history video on? Or deep dive history or lore video on?
I suppose the biggest one would be Pan's Dragoon.
Ooh.
I won't say any more than that because patrons are aware of something regarding that, so I'll keep it close to my chest.
Listeners, if you're one of Remleiz's patrons, then you can find out what that is.
And if not, why not?
But yeah, I would say I'd love to do one of those on like either Predator, Terminator / Terminator 2, or Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I was going to say Sailor Moon.
Or Piercing. Because it's not really a franchise or anything, but I am obsessed with piercings.
I'd say the one that you have the most shockingly deep knowledge on is probably Sailor Moon, because
it never comes up because 40k fans, Sailor Moon. There's not much of an overlap.
Can you imagine if there was a Predator Sailor Moon crossover? Because they've done Predator and Archie Comics crossover, and Predator Batman, Predator Superman, Predator Spider-Man, Predator Wolverine's coming out. So why not Predator Sailor Moon? Why not? I mean, if you can have a crossover with Archie.
Yeah. And the thing is with Sailor Moon, like every big finale, basically everyone dies, but then they come back to life because Sailor Moon is sad about it. TM, which I can mock it because I love it.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like, but I can't. Can you imagine fucking Sailor Neptune having her spine removed? Jesus.
And then they're replaced with a proposed American version of Sailor Moon that was done in the 90s.
Saban Moon. I got really, really mad about that because of hipster kind of my hipster bone was nudged and it pissed me off because I've been talking about Saban Moon since 2006 and no one ever gave a shit. But then some TikToker was like, "Oh my god, did you know that Sailor Moon was going to be adapted for American television?" And I'm like, yes, I fucking did. How fucking dare you?
It's like
no one cared when I said
it's like those true crime makeup channels that talk about how the film Jennifer's Body was inspired by a real murder, even though it actually fucking wasn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's one bit of hearsay or just straight up lie that gets put on TikTok and suddenly everyone believes it, and it's like, I know I sound like an old person shouting at a cloud, but legitimately TikTok really pisses me off for the level of misinformation that is on there. It's so much more prevalent than anywhere else on the internet that I've seen, really, and it pisses me off. But yeah, no, that would be really cool. Okay. What about you?
I want to say Star Trek because I don't actually talk. I talk about it on the podcast.
You know a shocking amount of stuff. You know what I'd love to see. I would pay money to see you and Jessie Gender do a video together about Star Trek.
I don't know. I think the reason why I would never bother is just because I think there's so many other people that kind of do. If
you think that, then you'll never get anything
you never do
done.
Anything, but
so start writing.
Yeah,
idiot.
You need to do a video on the Star Trek Transformers crossover.
Yeah,
it's quite fun.
Where Fortress Maximus becomes the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah, I think
that's a kink thing.
What is it? I think it's either Tiberius Maximus or Fortress Tiberius. I can't remember what it is offhand.
And for some reason, it's based on the animated series.
Yeah, actually that's a really fun thing. They do a little thing with the style of it. They add a little bit of a drop shadow on all of the characters, so they all look like they're from an animation cell of especially the old Star Trek animated series. That's just a fun little touch they did in that.
And they also recreated a bunch of the close-up scenes of Kirk and Spock and that constantly. That were very common. In the
it's really it's very, very well done. You got anything, Matt? I know you don't make lore videos, but if you were to make one...
I don't even have the brain space. I don't have time, obviously, to do it, but I don't have the brain space to even consider what I might do.
You have a degree. That's kind of you've paid your fucking dues when it comes to video, essays in general. So as far as I'm concerned, you've got the rest of your life off.
Yeah, all right, cool, sold.
Okay, I'll just do two more quick ones. Sorry, we don't get to all of them, but it is the nature of the thing.
Email them in, and we can do them next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got them from Ruben here. I thought this was interesting. What piece of obsolete media do you refuse to let go?
My Sega Saturn.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's such a precious answer.
I do kind of have that with quite a few games consoles where I just like PlayStation 1 and things like that. Like, I just don't want to get rid of them. But original Game Boy, things like that. I've got an original Game Gear that I won't get rid of, even though the capacitors in it are completely fucked and it doesn't turn on properly anymore.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I'm attached to any kind of old media like that. Oh, I do have some Sailor Moon VHS.
Yeah,
tapes.
yeah, you've got those old VHS tapes.
I have Predator on VHS. I have like a collection of like an armful of like old VHS tapes, and some of them are Australian VHS tapes.
So you haven't been able to play them the whole time you've been over here.
Yeah, and I don't think I can get rid of them because I remember acquiring like every single one. My Sailor Moon ones were like off eBay, but like there's ones where I got like I had like.
Wait, isn't Australia the same region as here?
I think it's slightly different.
It is
maybe.
for DVDs.
Yeah.
I don't know how VHS works.
I don't. I couldn't tell you. But no, but there's different like designs. I think I did have a bubble VHS case of The Mask that I like. And I do have a VHS tape of Street Fighter, which had a reversible sleeve, and that fucking blew my mind. And that Street Fighter the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, with the best piece of Street Fighter media. Someone's gonna knife me, which is fair. Who hasn't answered that question? John, Matt.
It's probably an obvious answer, and for all of the things that make me want to stop doing it, I still come back to Firefly every now and then. I know the whole, let's not even get into...
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, stuff and things, and about creators and things. But I do occasionally check up like, ooh, there's some more comics I haven't got around to reading. Let's just buy some comics, just to sort of try and
I need to read the Firefly
live in
comics.
that world.
I
Yeah,
have such a crush on Mal.
yeah,
Surprising no one. Nathan Fillion is an incredibly handsome man.
yeah.
But yeah, it's I was just thinking, because I'm mentioning the PlayStation 1, because I realised, because that's like the one set of games that I don't entertain getting rid of.
No,
like,
my
the other
platinum
ones,
copy of Metal Gear Solid 1 is never going anywhere.
Yeah, there's like occasional ones where I've like, say, not got the console anymore, but I've got the one game that was like the one that I really loved, and I kept the game. I know it's pointless, but like...
No, it's something that means a lot to you. I don't think it's pointless. I also have a laser disc of Terminator 2 that I got sent that I'm in love with.
Yeah,
Love
one
that.
One day we should get a laser disc player so we can do it.
Yes.
But anyway, let's go.
Let's speed on. Let's speed on.
Last question, and then the whole Twitter just died on me. Oh God,
Twitter's died, but Twitter's been dying a long time, honey.
yeah. Talk amongst yourself for a second.
It's all because a certain rodent got into power, but anyway.
Yeah. Also, Remleiz, Wib for my birthday got me Blu-ray copies of Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, and they've still photoshopped out Robert Patrick's balls.
Boo.
It was on my birthday, and I was
Gutted.
drinking. I was drinking quite a bit, and I was like, here's the thing, is this Blu-ray worthless? Like, joking, honey, thank you very much, that was a very thoughtful gift. And then, I was cawing. I was crowing like a fucking bird. A crow, one might say, when it got
or
to that
a
part.
snipe.
Because no. I don't know what noises Snipes makes. Probably come. That sounds like...
Hope not.
Can you imagine being in the woods? You're like, and suddenly you hear it. Come.
Anyway,
Question.
let's ask one last question, and we'll do a 40k one.
Oh, just as a treat. I'm
You know,
sure Remleiz
as a bit of
isn't
a
used to
treat.
that.
A bit of a treat. What would if you could change one piece of lore, what would it be?
Oh, that's a very, very hard one. There's so much, because there's so much.
There's so
Do you know-
much
do you know
that
what?
could
It
be
doesn't have
changed.
to-
I changed the retcon regarding the Exorcists, because they retconned them to be an Imperial Fist successor chapter, which is stupid, considering that originally they were a Grey Knight successor chapter, and then they got rid of everything that made them interesting and just made them the most boring and generic Imperial Fist successor chapter out there. It's like, well, that's crap now. And to be honest, I'm convinced they only made that retcon purely on the basis that, Grey Knights can't have Primaris Marines, but Exorcists can. They share the same gene seed source. So I think that's literally the only reason they made the retcon.
Yeah. That some of them are just made for very, like, mercenary reasons. Like, it's like, oh, we want to do this. Ah, yeah, sure, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, my go-to one has always been that I just really I don't want Fenrisian wolves to be,
People.
mutant Space Wolf aspirants. I hate it.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I just want them to just be big wolves that live on Fenris. I think that's
No
fine.
wolves on Fenris. Yeah, never heard that one before. Commenter before you fucking start typing.
Yeah, I really hate. I just really don't like that bit of lore. I don't exactly know why. I just go. I don't like that. That rubs me the wrong way.
Drama butt. What about you?
Yeah, pass. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Fair.
Beyond,
I've
as we
got-
mentioned before, on similar questions, Tau not being.
That was literally what I was going to say. I have two. So I have the annoying people answer, which is I would make it so men weren't physically strong enough to be space marines because I know the internet would catch fire. I would be literally people from the internet would be so mad at me they would teleport and physically manifest in my home to physically attack me.
If you had the power to
if I
do
had the
that.
power to, it would be so fucking funny. Ultimately, it's fucking stupid, whatever. But yeah, I would say, like, have the Tau just be the unequivocal good guys. Just, because, like, they kind of, like, were leaning into that, like, quite early on.
Not even like unequivocal, but like generally,
hard
like
word
they're
to
gonna have some flaws, and that's fine. But
Oh,
just,
yeah,
like,
but just
if they're
like, just,
aiming to be good,
yeah,
would
it's
be
like,
nice.
make them, like,
They might cock up and do bad things by accident sometimes.
yeah, I'm not saying like
yeah.
make it so that they never do something wrong. Just kind of like make it so that the like Eternals and like whatever the Ethereals, yeah, don't just go. Oh, we can just tell you things and now you'll viciously defend it and that's it. I like just make it so that they go to planets and like, hey, we just want to like establish kind of a friendly partnership. That's cool. And then people will be like, yeah, okay. And then it's just a chill kind of thing. And I do kind of feel that they missed a trick, but also, yeah, grim darkness of the far future. There is only everyone is a dickhead.
Yeah. I think it was one of the. I do understand why they did it, because it's like otherwise the only way to have them be good and it work in the grimdark setting is to make it so that they were as irrelevant as they were when they first appeared.
Yeah, so I get it.
The one race that's good being like pointless. That's fairly grim.
So I guess I'm falling back on my men just aren't strong enough to be space marines. Sorry, men. But yeah.
But yeah, we'll wrap up there. Sorry we didn't get to many of the questions.
Yeah, you can always email us the questions that we didn't answer to thedramamat@gmail.com. Do it.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was it. Thank you very much for your questions and thank you for listening. And a very big special thanks to Remleiz, like mayonnaise, for joining us. It was awesome to finally have you back.
Indeed it was, yes. And someone finally used the soundboard properly.
Yes, yes. The Discord has added sound effects, which is actually pretty amazing.
Do you want to?
Which no one can hear.
Which we'll
making
have to
notes.
put in post. Do you want to plug the places where people can find you? Ren?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at 40k Theories, Twitter at 40k Theories, Facebook at 40k Theories, Patreon at 40k Theories. It's very easy to find me.
Very consistent.
You literally will be tripping over him.
Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Remleiz, say goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay.
we're done.
Okay.
Nice.